Welcome to Rob and Tony's Cinematic Adventure. I'm Rob Wilson.
And I am Tony the Quano.
And Tony, we've got some special guests here with us today, don't we?
Yes, we do.
We've got some good friends of mine. Met them a few years ago. We got the Yorks. We got Pam and Lonnie. Say hello, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
So, Pam and Lonnie, why don't one of you tell our listeners what we're doing today? What movie?
We're doing the Christmas movie Die Hard.
Yeah, right. We're doing not only
Everyone's favorite Christmas movie.
Yes, not only the Christmas movie Die Hard, the best Christmas movie Die Hard.
Yes.
Right.
And it is a Christmas movie, no matter how much people try to argue that.
There is no debate.
There is no debate. It is a much more of a Christmas movie than many Christmas movies are.
Right.
It has all of the hallmarks of a Christmas movie. So, yeah.
And it completely takes place on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Yes. Yeah, so, yeah.
Not just Christmas season.
We might as well just go ahead and get into it and just settle the debate. So, like you said, Tony, this movie takes place on Christmas Eve and into the wee hours of Christmas Day. It not only takes place at a Christmas party, but it completely revolves around a Christmas party. If it weren't for the Christmas party, this movie wouldn't exist.
No, it wouldn't.
You know, something like Home Alone, sure, that's a Christmas vacation that they take, but it could just as easily be a summer vacation or spring break vacation. It doesn't have to be centered around Christmas. Die Hard
Summer trip
requires,
to Paris.
Yeah, exactly. Die Hard
Summer trip to Paris
requires,
happens all the time.
yeah, Die Hard requires that Christmas party in order for it to happen because it's a time when the building's shut down. There's only that small group of people there, and it's the easiest for the robbers to take over.
It's also the time of miracles. There are a few miracles in this movie.
It is the time of miracles. And, you know, there are Christmas carols throughout. Christmas music. You know, you've got Christmas in Hollis.
Yeah.
You've got Hans Gruber humming Ode to Joy. You've got just Ode to Joy playing. And then
the whole movie. The whole movie.
The whole movie. And during the credits,
there's a giant stuffed bear. It's a Christmas present.
Yes, Christmas present. Yeah.
There's a Christmas present.
Mm-hmm.
There is Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow during the credits.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And Santa Claus is on every floor that he goes to.
Yes.
Yes, that too. Plus, he puts a Santa hat on a guy on his first kill and does now have a machine gun. Ho ho ho. He uses toward the end of the movie. He uses Season's Greetings tape in a creative way.
Mm-hmm.
Very creative.
And on top of this, I don't know.
There's concern about shutting down the power to a major city block on Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, yes.
Because that's a...
Oh, by the way,
in the middle of the night, you're not concerned about shutting down the power to a big block. But Christmas Eve, you get concerned about that.
Yes. Also, I did notice something real quick, Tony. In our Burbs episode, we were wondering if maybe it was the same character.
Different name?
Different name. The Burbs, he's Art. In Die Hard, he's Walt.
Maybe they're cousins.
Maybe they're cousins. Or maybe after all the stuff happened in L.A., maybe he changed his name.
That's true.
But anyway, back to... So tell me, how many days of Christmas are there, traditionally?
12.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever counted how many explosions there are in Die Hard?
No.
There are exactly 12 explosions.
And the one lady's going to have a baby.
That too.
That's right. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
People's main argument on Die Hard not being a Christmas movie is that it's an action movie. You can have a Christmas movie that's an action movie. You can have a Christmas movie that's a comedy. You can have a Christmas drama. You can whatever. It doesn't matter what the genre of
Christmas
the movie
rom-com,
is.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if you're trying to say that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie because it's an action movie, then any other genre of movie can't be a Christmas movie.
You get a Christmas horror movie.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Santa Sleigh.
Mm-hmm. Krampus.
Yes, that's...
So yeah, hopefully this settled the debate once and for all.
Yes.
Right.
Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
12 explosions. Interesting.
Yep,
Yeah,
12 explosions.
I never thought of that.
I neither.
Now you're gonna have to make me rewatch it again.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. I'm counting through them in my head.
Now, granted, I didn't actually like sit there and count while I was watching it. I read it after the fact that there were 12 explosions, so I'm hoping that's an accurate number.
Well, I'm gonna rewatch it. And
Yeah, gonna rewatch it, and gonna rewatch it and count.
One of those 12 explosions in Die Hard 2.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
No.
Anyway.
Or maybe there's 8 explosions in Die Hard 2 because they want to celebrate Hanukkah too. They don't want to pigeonhole it into just Christmas.
Exactly.
They want to.
Sometimes Hanukkah and Christmas coincide.
Yeah, sometimes.
You know,
sometimes.
It's very possible.
All right. So when I know when the first time you saw this movie was, Tony, but we're going to hear about that from you in just a minute. But Pam and Lonnie, when was the first time that you guys saw Die Hard?
In July of 1988. It was the big thing that summer. It was on TV every night. We watched trailers on MTV and Entertainment Tonight, and that's all they talked about for maybe 2 months leading up to it. It was going to be a big thing, and Bruce Willis, and he was just coming up in moonlighting, and so it was a big thing. So my boys and I, we were really excited to go see it because we'd been watching previews all first of the summer.
I see. You saw it in theater then?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I wish I could have seen this one in the theater.
Yeah, it was pretty cool because, like I say, we'd been following it on TV. It was the big thing. That's all they talked about, and showed new scenes every night.
And new trailers.
Yeah.
Didn't stop with one. They had a trailer every night, a different one every night on that Entertainment Tonight. It was everything.
And they were saying that Bruce Willis was doing most of his stunts. But you can tell when somebody else is doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely not him doing all of it.
I actually read somewhere or saw it in a TV special or something like that, or something where apparently, I mean, I don't know exactly how accurate this is, but apparently they filmed the roof explosion scene first when he jumps off the roof.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like that was the first scene that they filmed, because if something happened to Bruce Willis, they would still have time to get another actor.
That's right. Yeah. Guess we're getting Ted Danson.
So did that mean that they weren't confident in him making it through the scene?
No, I guess they just wanted, because he was jumping off of a high, he wasn't actually jumping off a building, but he was jumping off of something pretty high, and if he fell and died or hurt himself badly, then
Oh man.
Something went wrong with the rigging.
Yeah. Like I say, it was a big thing, and we couldn't wait to see it. So I'm sure we went as soon as it opened.
Right.
Awesome. Yeah, I wish I could have seen this one in the theater.
Yeah.
Why haven't they ever re-released it?
Yes,
they did.
Did they?
Last year? Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was like the that Phantom Events, and they had it there for a couple of nights.
Okay, I must have missed the. I
missed that too.
I usually see the announcements for those, but I guess I missed that one.
Well, then a few years ago, we went to a marathon, had all of them. We were there from noon till 1 o'clock in the morning the next day. They played all of them.
That'd be a good thing to kind of check some of those smaller theaters, different events when they. Because I could see that being a thing, because the Die Hard, Big Lebowski, there's certain movies that are very much set for kind of fan type of events.
And I'm sure they'll have a 40th anniversary in a few years.
40th.
Oh, yeah.
4 years, yeah.
Won't be long.
Nope.
Wow.
So, Tony, regale us with the story of how I introduced you to Die Hard.
Well, so it's funny. I'd actually seen Die Hard: The Vengeance first. That was my introduction to John McClane. Was Die Hard: The Vengeance, and I'd seen a bunch of various different '90s action movies, mostly through Tim. For those that's listened to the Point Break episode, our guest on that episode, yeah, he was kind of my gateway into R-rated action movies. And that was one of the first ones I'd seen with him was Die Hard: with Vengeance. And I'm not sure how it took a while to get to Die Hard. And even as I was kind of exploring more movies as, getting into my high school and then like college years, I'm not sure why Die Hard kind of slipped through the cracks for a while. And was it at your parents' house or was it the 303?
It was at my parents' house.
That's what I thought. It was at your parents' house.
It was 2005 when I was going through. It was when I was going through the fire department training.
That's right.
And when we would get together every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Same way that you first saw Terminator.
Yeah.
Same way that we both first saw Hot Fuzz.
It's kind of it's funny.
It's one of those movies that we watched.
At that time, like there was a couple years there, we were kind of going through like a whole catalog of movies that were 20 plus years old at that point, almost 20 plus years old.
Yep.
Yeah, so that would have been the first time I was hooked.
Yeah, my first time seeing it wasn't much earlier than that. It was probably within a few months of that.
Yeah,
but I had heard about it all my life. I knew about it. I just hadn't watched it. And one day I was at Blockbuster and I decided to rent it. So I rented it and I watched it and it was amazing and I loved it. And so then I would rent it like every week after that. So by the time you saw it, Tony, I had seen it probably like 7 or 8 times. By the time. And that was all within like that 2-month period there.
But the first time was actually on my radar. My dad had this CD. It was of classical music and had different pieces, right? Mm-hmm. And it referenced different pop culture pieces that, featured it. It had The Joy and it had Die Hard, right? Mm-hmm. And my mom was looking at it. It's like, where was that in Die Hard? My dad's like, it's when all the buildings blow up.
It's throughout the entire movie.
And it's not. And like he was just kind of joking around about how you're saying it, but yeah. So that was kind of my first like actual awareness of Die Hard.
Yeah,
was through this CD of classical music.
I remember one of the times that I rented it. I don't know why I didn't just buy it. I don't know why I kept on going and renting it. But it was at a time when it was on TV pretty much nonstop. Mm-hmm. But I kept renting it instead of watching it on TV because there's no commercials.
Right.
Yes.
So I remember I went to Blockbuster for like the probably 4th or 5th time renting it. And I walk up to the counter and the guy, looks at it, scans the barcode, and he's like, "Why are you renting this movie? It's on TV all the time." I'm just like, it's a great movie.
Because on TV, they don't say yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
No, they don't.
They cut out all the juicy words.
They do say yippee-ki-yay and melon farmer, though.
It was on a Dinner and a Movie last week, and they cut out all the bad words.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
But no, this movie will always hold a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
It's funny seeing some of the new warnings because like right now it's also like streaming on like Max or Prime also. And one of the warnings now is cigarette smoking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's
like yeah. That's throughout this one.
Yeah.
Oh.
You used to get the warnings of like some of the teen movies where they'd be like drinking alcohol, like underage parties, like underage kids drinking used to be like, that's always been a warning. But now it's like just a blanket, if there's cigarettes in the movie, like
if there's even just one shown, even if it's not smoked, if there's a picture of a cigarette.
And there's a lot of smoking in this movie.
There is. Mm-hmm. There is. Both cigarettes and people.
Especially FBI agents.
Yeah.
They do both.
At the same time.
I always loved having the DVD for this though. Mm-hmm. That's back, when it was one of the special ones that had like the nice thick plastic case and like the interactive menus.
Yep.
With just a helicopter flying around.
See, I didn't have the one with a thick case. So my first DVD of this, I got it from Best Buy.
Did you buy the Steelbook?
Well, I did buy the Steelbook, but that wasn't the first one that I got. So the first one I got was remember when Best Buy would, like if there was a trilogy where they would just, rather than it being like a box set or something, they just take the 3 different DVDs and just shrink wrap them together. Yeah, it was that. I bought all 3, Die Hard, Die Hard 2, and Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yeah, that's what I got.
It was just all shrink wrapped together.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had that a little while till they came out with the steelbook for it. And I think that might have been the first steelbook I ever got. It was Die Hard.
Yeah, I remember getting it. I actually did not have the steelbook for that for a long time because I had the original copy of the other one. And I had the Die Hard 2 and Die Hard the Vengeance steelbooks. And I finally bought the Die Hard steelbook. But yeah. Has it been released in 4K yet?
It has. I have the 4K.
Okay.
Of course I do. The rest of the movies have been released on 4K digitally, but not on disc.
Not physically.
But the first one has been released physically on 4K.
Gotcha.
So, little background on the Yorks here. So, you guys, I met you.
We're famous.
I met you, 5 years ago now? About?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thereabouts?
Yeah.
Thereabouts.
Yeah, we did a trivia company, Brothers Brew Trivia. We did a Die Hard trivia for Christmas at
Nice.
Outfield Beer Company. And you guys not only got first place, but you got the first perfect score in company history. And it was on Die Hard.
Hard on that one.
There were things like the halftime question on that one was name 10 out of the 13 terrorists. If you any beyond 10 that you named, you get a bonus point for each. You guys named all 13 of them.
All of them.
And not only did you name all 13 of them, but all of them that had last names, you included the last names.
Nice.
Yes. Yes.
The final question was naming what happened, like matching whatever happened to what floor it happened on. And you guys nailed that one too.
Right.
Yes.
I have seen those infographics that detail that really well about who dies where,
Yep.
what happens when. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, I knew that there was a, I knew that we could be friends. And you guys,
Barometer.
yep.
Show someone Die Hard, check their reaction. No.
But you've been to every Die Hard trivia that we've done since then, haven't you? And
Right.
I think you've won every one of them.
Yeah, I loved it that one time you said, see that lady in the corner? She knows all the terrorists, where they live, their last names. And the one guy said, great, now you tell me after I start.
But it's one of those movies that you never get tired of watching.
No,
No,
you don't.
it's not, yeah.
at all. Yeah.
It's one of those, you could watch it on a loop, and it's still
Yes.
great. It's just as great the 100th time as it is the first.
And like some Christmas movies, you bring out at Christmas and then you don't watch again the next Christmas. Die Hard? No.
Yep. Yeah.
It could be Valentine's Day. And just, you know what? Let's watch Die Hard.
Bring out Die Hard.
Because it is a story about love being reconciled as well.
It is.
Exactly.
It
That's
is.
true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the 303, we watched it pretty much nonstop. we had it on like every other weekend. I mean, we'd cycle through the other Die Hards also, but
Absolutely, yeah.
that was also the year that Live Free or Die Hard came out, so we saw that one in the theater.
We did. We saw that in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that one in a while.
It's been probably a year or so, year and a half, somewhere in those stuff. Seen that one.
Okay.
But yeah, great movie. The first three were fantastic.
Mhm.
Fourth one was good. I really enjoyed the fourth one. The fifth one's
solid, but
It's okay.
fifth one has its moments, but
Yes.
that's about it. Just its moments.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be kind. We like Bruce Willis, so we'll be kind.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
We might get around to Die Hard 2 and Vengeance one day. We'll see.
Yeah, we might.
So
We
I
might.
always loved Vengeance.
Mhm.
Vengeance is probably my favorite.
Yes.
Of,
Oh, yeah.
Samuel
The
L.
sequels,
Jackson is
so.
really good in that.
He
Oh,
is. Jeremy Irons is.
Yeah.
Yep. And I mean, if they ever come out with a remake of Die Hard, which they better not.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
They better
No,
not.
no.
I'll probably still
No.
see it just to see how bad it is.
How bad it is.
I mean, I'm sure it'll be like the remake of Red Dawn, which I never saw, but I know it's terrible just because it is.
Oh. I have seen that Red Dawn remake, and
Oh,
it's rough.
is it? I've heard the Roadhouse remake's actually pretty good though.
Okay.
So that could be one Swayze movie that they didn't mess up the remake on. I don't know.
One of the hardest things about they did a Die Hard remake is like Bruce Willis was like that was a bold choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like for the action star, like that, it was completely out of left field.
It was his first action movie.
Yeah.
Right. So, we mentioned earlier, like, he was, moonlighting was what he was known for. Right.
Right.
And like, if they're trying to cast it today, like, it'd be hard to try to go against type and find that right person that would just comfortably slip into that role.
Yeah.
Because you're just going to be having Bruce Willis in your head. And yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think they went through all the big stars at that time, too. Schwarzenegger and Stallone, and nobody would take it. So.
Yeah, because originally they were contracted to offer the role to Frank Sinatra.
Right.
Because the movie is... because Die Hard is an adaptation of a book.
Right.
The book Nothing Lasts Forever, which is a sequel to the novel The Detective. Both written by Roderick Thorpe. And when they made a movie adaptation of The Detective, it starred Frank Sinatra.
Okay.
So when they were making Die Hard, because technically it was a sequel to the book that The Detective was based off of.
Right.
Or it's based off the book that's a sequel to the book that The Detective was based off of. Then according to Sinatra's contract, he was allowed first go at any sequels. So they had to offer it to him. Luckily, he turned it down.
It's like, I'm 70. No. I'm comfortable.
I've actually seen The Detective. It's not a bad movie.
No, I've never seen it.
I don't think I've seen that one either.
I haven't seen that one.
But yeah, then they talked about, I don't know if they actually offered it to Schwarzenegger or if they just considered him.
I think they considered him. They had a long list there, but right now all I can think of is Schwarzenegger and Stallone.
Yeah, because they were the big action stars.
Those
at
would be the
time.
obvious ones we'd think about. Absolutely.
But yeah, Bruce Willis got it, and he nailed it. And this movie redefined the action genre.
It looks like they also offered it to like Nick Nolte and Richard Gere.
Oh yeah, Richard Gere. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Don Johnson.
Yeah, I mean he had Miami Vice going on at the time, so
yeah,
had a lot of names there. So and then the other one, Alan Rickman. It was his feature film debut.
Yeah, it was.
He all he did was stage.
He did stage. He did a couple of TV appearances, but yeah, this was his first feature film.
And it'd be another hard one to kind of find the right person to like just easily slip into that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and another reason why Die Hard is a Christmas movie. So there are two plants that are synonymous with Christmas. Do you know what those two plants are?
Holly and ivy. Oh, Holly. That's
his wife's name is Holly.
Yes.
I was thinking Holly and Mistletoe, but his Bonnie Bedelia plays Holly McClane or Holly Gennaro.
I have my Die Hard shirt and I have Holly socks. So.
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, that's another good point.
Plus, I mean, he's going to visit his family for Christmas.
Yeah. He's
trying to rescue his loved ones at Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's there for it to be a Christmas movie, so there's no argument that it's not a Christmas movie.
I agree.
And like I said, it's literally a company Christmas party.
Yes.
I mean, you could do a murder mystery movie with a Christmas party, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's a Christmas movie."
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like but whatever reason, because it's an action movie and it will blow up and get dropped off buildings. No, it's not a Christmas movie.
No. Yep. So anyway, do we want to go ahead and get into it?
Yeah, get into it.
All right.
Yeah.
So, as always, before we start out, spoiler alert, even though this movie is almost 40 years old, we are going to be talking about this entire movie, beginning, middle, and end. So if you have not seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, then go ahead and pause the podcast, go watch the movie, and come back and listen. If you have seen it, or if you just don't mind spoilers, and keep on listening, but you have been warned. And if you haven't seen it in all this time, a movie as fantastic as this one, shame on you. But that can all be fixed right now if you pause the podcast and go watch it. And then come back and listen.
Fix it. It is streaming. So I think if you have any most streaming services, won't be too hard to find it.
Yeah.
And if not, what? It's probably like a $3.99 rental to stream.
Yep. Or I'm sure you know somebody that has it. This movie is not hard to find.
It's not hard to find at all.
I mean, it's Christmas season right now, so it's it's probably playing on every other channel. So
yes.
Anyway, so yeah, we start out with a plane landing at an airport.
Plane landing in Los Angeles. And we got Bruce Willis. You don't know his name yet. He's just kind of hanging tight, his arms tight to the armrest, right?
Yep.
He doesn't like flying.
And the guy next to him's trying to help him out a little bit, trying to give him some advice on how to handle air travel. So he tells him that the secret to surviving air travel is when you get where you're going, you take off your shoes and your socks.
You make
and
fists with your toes.
Stand on the carpet and make fists with your toes.
Fists with your toes. Yeah.
Fists with your toes.
I love Bruce Willis just like looks at him. He's like, "What? Fists with your toes? What are you talking about?"
Like, better than a hot shower and a cup of coffee. Trust me, I've been doing it for 9 years.
Can you have the hot shower, the cup of coffee, and the fist with your toes? Like, why not do all three?
I know. So then when Bruce Willis stands up to get his teddy bear out of the overhead compartment, the giant teddy bear that he got for one of his kids, or maybe both of his kids, maybe they're supposed to share it. I don't know. It never says who, or maybe he got it for Holly. Or maybe he just can't travel without his teddy.
Is this emotional support animal?
Yes,
his emotional support
teddy
teddy bear.
At that time, they probably only allowed, like C&I dogs and all. Now, you can bring a lap dog on if you want, but back then he has to bring a giant teddy bear.
Yep. I was on a few flights in the last week, and just about every one of them, at least one person had a dog with them. So,
wow.
Yeah.
But anyway, so when he's getting out of that, his gun in his shoulder holster gets flashed, and the guy that he was talking to kind of gets this nervous look on his face. So he tells him, "It's okay, I'm a cop. Trust me, I've been doing this for 11 years.
11 years.
It doesn't seem to ease the guy's worry, though.
No. He's obviously not an air marshal.
Yeah.
If he's that nervous about flying.
So we actually don't learn his name until he gets into the airport, and we see Argyle standing there with a sign that says J. McClane on it. And he says, "I'm John McClane."
No.
So we know his name, John McClane.
Yeah. Yeah, he just sees his name on the little sign, and he doesn't even know what to do. To go, it's like, the limo. Right? It's like it's his first time riding a limo. It's like his first flight and his first limo drive.
Yep.
Just limo ride.
So he rides up front in the limo. And Argyle starts talking to him, and he just tries to carry on a conversation with him, and he reveals that he used to be a cab driver, so people would expect a little chit-chat. But the limo is fully equipped with the latest features of 1988.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's got CD, CB, VHS.
Yes.
It's got VHS. Yes. Oh, not Betamax. No.
Nope. VHS.
It's also got some women's undergarments, but it's it's her day off apparently.
Yep. He tosses that in the back.
Is that the same? When he's talking on the phone later, his
I don't know.
Later,
I don't know.
Is
Is
it
it
the same one, or
same?
is it the same? Does he have multiple
Maybe.
ladies? I don't
Maybe.
know.
Or maybe just it's a shared limo and the other driver left him. I don't know.
I like Argyle though. Devereaux White.
Yes.
Laser.
Devereaux White.
So.
Although what was it? I was watching on Netflix. They have there's a show on there. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend watching it. It's called The Movies That Made Us.
Mm-hmm.
It's an excellent little behind the scenes look on various movies, and Die Hard is one of them. That one of the episodes is about Die Hard, and they're actually talking to Argyle, to the actor.
Okay.
And he reveals that everybody mispronounces his name. They say Devereaux. It's actually pronounced Devoyer.
Devoyer.
Devoyer White.
Interesting. Okay.
It's spelled Devereaux, but I guess he's named after his grandpa or something like that.
Gotcha.
Something
I
along those
realized,
lines, but I think it's pronounced Devoyer if I remember right.
I realized he did a bunch of TV appearances, like Little House on the Prairie and Different Strokes and Highway to Heaven. He had a lot of different kind of roles before that. So, but yeah.
But one thing he didn't do for all of our How I Met Your Mother fans, unfortunately, he did not produce a coin collecting documentary.
So he's running and he's talking about how he just kind of goes out and says that our girl's wondering why are you out in New York and your wife's out here in LA. Right. He tries to give him the BS story about I have all these cases to clear up.
Mm-hmm.
And Argyle, he sees straight through it, right? He's just like, oh, so you thought she was going to flame out in her career out here and come crawling back to you.
He's like,
I like how, they build they build this banter between them.
Yeah.
By the time he gets there, like there's a respect between the two of them.
yeah, there is. They're more than just mere acquaintances.
Yes.
Yes.
It's more than just a limo driver passenger relationship.
And eventually they'll rely on each other.
Yeah.
So
they get to
one gets stuck in the parking garage.
Yep. They get to the Nakatomi building, and Argyle is like, "Hey, tell you what, here's my card. Give me a call when you figure out things with your lady. If you got a place to stay, then I'll bring your luggage up here to the lobby. If you don't, I'll take you somewhere." So that's not something that a typical limo driver would offer to do.
As you find out later, he's supposed to go out to Vegas after this.
Yeah. Yes. He's supposed to go pick somebody up in Vegas.
Whether his dispatcher ever calls him like, "Hey, are you on your way to Vegas?" I mean, granted, this is the late 80s. So like, today, limo companies, they have GPS in all the vehicles.
Yeah.
They can track to see where they are.
But in the 80s, they didn't really have that. Unless it was like, I'm sure like some high-end limo company might have something along those lines. But
maybe.
In the 80s, GPS wasn't really a thing except with like the military. So.
Yeah, right. And I guess we had we've had a few scenes cut to the actual party where we've been introduced to Holly and kind of going around the Christmas party.
Yeah,
and she ends up
Holly and Ellis, and
because she calls home.
Yeah,
talk to Lucy McClane.
Yes,
right.
McClane residence, Lucy McClane speaking.
She wants to know, is Daddy coming home? She wants Daddy home for Christmas.
Yes, she wants Daddy home for Christmas. Because she loves her daddy.
Mm-hmm.
And we get our first reference to Santa.
Yes.
It's like, well, we'll see what Santa can, cook up.
Well, we'll see what Santa and Mommy can do.
I can do.
Yes.
So.
Yeah,
we meet Ellis, and Ellis is Harry Ellis, played by Hart Bochner. Played brilliantly by Hart Bochner. He's so good at playing that yuppie douche.
It's almost too bad. Like he was a voice in Master of the Phantasm.
Yep, Master of the Phantasm. He was.
So this is actually our second
yes
movie with Hart Bochner.
Yep,
but he hasn't really it's not like he has an extensive filmography, right?
All right.
But like you said, he's brilliant in this.
Yeah, I mean, our introduction to him is he's hitting on Holly. He's trying to get a date with her, knowing full well that her husband is on his way there.
It's like, ditch him tonight. Go back to my place.
Yeah,
drink some more wine.
Mulled wine and brie. Open fire.
A nice aged brie.
That's right. No. Not just any brie. No. That's right. You already got my Rolex. Which is interesting. There's actually, the watches in this. There's a lot of watches in this movie. By
yes,
the way.
there are a lot of watches.
Not just the Rolex. I didn't realize this either. That originally, all the terrorists were going to wear the same watch.
Yes, that was in the original screenplay. That they all wore Tag Heuer.
Yes,
and they
which
were
is actually what John.
Yeah, they were all supposed to be Swedish.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all supposed to be Swedish.
Yes.
They didn't think that'd be too menacing.
Yes.
But I think they realized they were going to run into some continuity problems with the watches. They all wore the same ones, and so they ditched that.
Because the watch was originally the scene later on when John McClane and Hans Gruber finally share screen time together. the watch was going to be how he identified him as one of the terrorists.
Yes.
Oh.
Because he recognized it from all the other ones that he had killed.
Ah.
Yep. But he wears a Cartier tank in this, which he seen fairly prominently when he's talking with Takagi.
Mm-hmm.
But which is actually the same watch that you see in there's an infamous photo of Muhammad Ali where he's kind of boxing and he's wearing the same watch that Hans Gruber wears in this. So anyway,
yeah.
But enough about the Rolex for right now.
Yep.
It'll be important later.
Yes.
Chekhov's gun is the Rolex in this movie.
Yes, the Rolex definitely is Chekhov's gun. So McClane gets into the front desk and he's asking, where he can find Holly McClane. So the security guard points him toward the touchscreen, the brand new touchscreen technology.
It could even find your fly if you go to the bathroom.
Yes. A brand new state-of-the-art touchscreen technology that can help you piss.
Imagine if Echo helps you go to the bathroom.
I'm sure one of these updates it'll happen. Anyway, so he looks up Holly McClane in the M's and doesn't find her name. So then he looks up her maiden name, Gennaro. And this is where there's a mistake in the movie because it's spelled two different ways. So when you look at when he first sees the name Gennaro, Holly, it's spelled, I believe, with an A, JENNARRO. But once he taps on it, then it changes the A to an E. Or it could be the other way around. I think on her door it's spelled with an E.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, it is.
Yeah. And on the touchscreen thing, then it either starts out as an A and switches to an E, or it starts out as an E and switches to an A. Either way, it misspells it. And then I think in the credits, it's actually spelled with an A also. At the end of the movie.
Didn't make up their mind.
Yeah, so he...
Well,
it tells them what floor they're on.
Wikipedia is A, by the way.
Oh. Yeah, so which is it? A or E? The world may never know. So
Bonnie Bedelia knows.
Bonnie Bedelia does know. Ask her. I'm sure she'd be happy to tell you. So it reveals that the 31st floor. That's where the Christmas party is. The only people in the building. Why didn't you just say that at the beginning? Go over to the Christmas party. She's probably there.
30th floor.
Oh, the 30th. Yes, sorry, the 30th floor.
30th, yes.
30th floor. Thank you. Thank you. The 30th floor.
Part of the building is still under construction. I mean, like,
yes,
it's Christmas Eve. Like, yeah, it's one big Christmas party out there. The BSC's like, oh, there's a Christmas party. There's no one else in the building. It's on the 30th floor.
Just go up to the 30th floor. She'll be there.
Was on a different floor. It's like, no, she's probably going to be on at the Christmas party, which is on the 30th floor.
Yes, the only people left in the building.
I hadn't thought of that.
Like, was he invited? Was any of the security guards invited to the party to come up? It's like, hey, have some champagne.
I can tell you from personal experience as a security guard, no. The security guards were not invited to that party.
You're the help. And some help they were.
Yeah.
Some big German dude with golden locks with a
Who?
Anyway.
This was his first movie, also, because he was a ballet dancer before this.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Carl.
But we do see one of the security guard as he goes to the elevators, right? And this guy just seems like this is definitely one of those retired cops that's got the pension that gets mentioned later, right?
Yep.
Like he doesn't care.
Nope.
He's like,
he doesn't care.
Back on a pension.
Yep.
So he gets up there right on the floor, and everyone's having fun. And there's they have guys bring around watered down champagne, as Takagi puts it later. And he's looking around because he's lost. He doesn't know who to look for, right? He's trying to find Holly, but there's all these other people.
Mm-hmm.
Some strange dude comes up and kisses him.
Yep. California.
California.
Hey, he says Merry Christmas. The guy wishes him a Merry
Christmas. He does. He wishes him a Merry Christmas.
There you go.
After sexually assaulting him. Because nothing says Christmas like sexual assault.
Never thought of it though. But he's smart. He realizes the Japanese company, so he sees a bunch of white people, and he sees a guy that's obviously Japanese,
a well-dressed man. Somebody who looks important in the company.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out he's the boss.
Yeah.
Mr. Takagi.
He asked him how his ride-in was. It's like, it was the least that he could do. Bring Holly's white husband over. So.
Yep.
And she was getting copies at the time. She was faxing.
Yes.
Right? So.
Yes, because faxing was a thing back in the day.
Yes.
Yes.
Time before email.
I love that Back to the Future Part 2. Read my fax.
Oh, it's crazy that they thought faxes would last until 2015.
We have flying cars. We're still going to have fax machines. So he brings him to Holly's office, and there's Ellis doing a line of coke.
Yep, on her desk, on Holly's desk.
He's like, John's a policeman.
Yeah, he's like,
this is missed some.
This is Holly's husband, John. He's a policeman.
He's a policeman. He's not a narc. He's just a policeman.
Yeah, he's just a policeman. But then McClane tells Ellis that he missed some. So then Ellis wipes his nose.
Yeah, maybe that's also part of his plan with Holly. Old wine, a fine brie, a fire.
Get her coked up. I mean, it was the 80s. Coke was running rampant then. So
yes, it was.
Especially in the corporate world. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, then Holly walks in and sees John standing there, and she freezes. She gets speechless for a second. She sees Bruce Willis standing across the room.
Yes.
So,
as we mentioned, we kind of said earlier, but Holly is played by Bonnie Bedelia.
Mm-hmm.
And Takagi is James Shigata.
Yes, James Shigeta.
But
and Alice, of course, Hart Bachner. We've mentioned that already. But they're all perfect for their roles in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I like kind of like there's this awkwardness in this part, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like this reunion, but like it's for this job that like kind of is the reason why they're separated.
Mm-hmm.
And Takagi, he's like, it's like we're saying, like, oh yeah, she's meant for this corporate,
Takagi's,
this corporate
Takagi's
business.
trying to do what he can to lessen the tension.
Make him feel welcomed.
Bit. Make him feel welcomed, to sort of relieve the awkwardness. Like he even jokes,
dude doing cocaine on his wife's desk. Like,
yeah. Right? I mean, Takagi even makes a joke when Holly asks if he's met everybody, and Takagi's like, "No, we've been sticking with Spears."
And there's also the part too, like even before she comes in, like he's like, "Oh yeah, like I didn't realize you celebrate Christmas in Japan." Like,
yeah, that too.
It's like we figured to sell you all cheap tape decks.
It's like, the war didn't work out for us, so we figured we'd get you with tape decks.
Hey, he's a smart businessman.
Yep,
obviously.
Yep.
So we hear his credentials later. But yeah. But yeah, there's kind of this awkward moment, and then even like Alice is like, show him the watch.
Yeah, show him the watch.
Yeah.
Just a token of our appreciation for all the work she's been doing this year. It's a Rolex.
It's a Rolex.
It's a Rolex.
Like, he's taking out the measuring tape, right? It's like, we know who wins that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anybody who's seen Pulp Fiction or Color of Night will knows who wins that.
So anyway, finally it just ends up being the two of them, and they're in her office, and he's cleaning up and washing. And
Well, no, I think they're in Ellis's office at this point.
Oh yes,
because he mentions he's got his eye on you, and she's like, "Well, I've got an eye on his private bathroom."
That's right, and which is where he goes wash up. Yes,
because they started out in Holly's office, then they moved over to Ellis's office because he had the bathroom.
And we find out that he was not certain that he was going to be able to stay with Holly. Like, he had an old captain that retired.
Yeah, old Cappy retired in Pomona, which he calls Ramona.
Which, hey, if you're not from out there, like he's from New York.
Yeah,
he knows New York. He doesn't know LA.
Yeah. So,
and she's like, you're going to be in the car half the time. You might as well just stay at our place.
Yeah,
right.
Because when he called earlier, he told their maid to go ahead and make up the guest room.
See, Holly, I did that already.
Mm-hmm. See, Miss Holly, I did that already. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so talking, but then of course he has to being a knucklehead and.
Start an argument.
We can be knuckleheads
and start an argument.
Macho man.
But you didn't miss my name when he signed the checks, did you?
Yeah, because she's going with her maiden name. She, her reasoning behind it is that it's a Japanese company and they don't look too highly on married women. So she decided to go with her maiden name to make it seem like she's not married.
Which everybody knows she is.
Yes, which everybody knows she is. And it doesn't seem to do anything to negatively affect her job.
Yep. Hey.
But it actually works out because it becomes an important plot point later.
It does. But that's a good point. I hadn't actually even really thought about it before. Takagi knows that she's married, and he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Literally doesn't care.
Yeah.
He even got a limo for him.
Yes.
All right.
He spared no expense to get John McClane there. You got to wonder if did he pay for the plane ticket too?
Yeah.
I think he
That's
did.
actually a good point. Yeah.
I think he did.
Because he said, "Do I have you to thank for this?" And he said, "That's the least we could have done."
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, he actually spared no expense, unlike John Hammond with Jurassic Park. Only putting one IT guy in there.
Hey, listen, like he hired a brilliant IT guy, but given that he was making him in charge of everything, didn't compensate him adequately, and didn't see if he needed any other, adequate support staff.
Yep.
Anyway, you can listen to our Jurassic Park episode for that.
Yep.
So they argue about this, and then Holly's secretary comes in, and she's the one that, as we mentioned earlier, there is a pregnant lady in this movie.
There is.
Mm-hmm.
There is.
She is very pregnant.
Yeah, she is. She's Holly's assistant.
Yeah.
Yes, and that, as Holly says, like, that baby is ready to tend bar. And she comes in. Takagi was looking for her because he wanted her to kind of give a speech to everybody, here at the party, right? To the troops, right? So Holly leaves.
Yeah, Holly puts their conversation on hold so that she can go out there. And while she's giving her speech, I don't know. Did she even get to start her speech? We don't know because we don't actually see what goes on out there until
we do kind of we kind of getting caught up in what's going on at the 30th floor right now. But, we do kind of get interspersed within there. We see this like box truck, this
driving down the road,
green box truck driving down the road, kind of goes in, and then he goes into the guys kind of
in the parking garage. Then two guys walk in the front door. We got
once Clarence Gilliard.
Yes, Clarence Gilliard Jr.
Played by Theo. Yep. Who when I watched this, I knew from
Walker, Texas Ranger.
Walker, Texas Ranger, and Matlock.
Yeah. Yep.
And and Alexander Godunov?
Yes, Alexander Godunov. Carl. They walk in the front door. Alexander Godunov, before this, was the ballet dancer. This is his first movie. And in some of his kicks later when he's fighting John McClane, then you can tell that he was a dancer. Just the way that he moves.
He was talking about a Lakers game. Right?
Yep.
And then just kind of walk up, and the guy, the security guard, he's just like, he kind of looks at what's going on. He's not thinking much about it. And
and then Carl pulls out a gun and shoots him in the head.
Yep.
And so then they go to the parking garage and they let everybody else in.
Yeah,
because
they kill the other security guards.
Yes,
first,
they do. Yeah, they roll.
They have a little smoke bomb,
little flashbang that looks like a hockey puck that they sort of roll in there. When it goes off, Carl walks around the corner and shoots the guard there. But yeah, then
they get everybody up. While they're doing that, like Theo, he kind of shut. He locks down some of the elevators.
Yeah.
He kind of to be able to control it, and then so.
Then the rest of the terrorists come out of the back of the box truck.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because while they're walking, they're led by Hans Gruber, by Alan Rickman. And it's funny because when they're walking toward the doorway, if you look at them, like they're all in they're not in single file. It's like Hans Gruber's up front, and then there's they're in three lines behind him.
Yes.
The guy, if you're looking at him on the left, the camera cuts right before he walks right into the wall when they're going through the doorway. He's just about to walk right into that wall.
It's like the infamous stormtrooper that knocks his head.
Yep. Yep.
But it's not quite 8 tiny reindeer.
Nope.
No.
No, it's not.
No. Anyhow, so they get in, and then before they kind of lock everything down, there's one of those other guys that was in the box truck is the guy that kind of replaces the security guard. Because,
Yeah.
There's someone that's kind of there in case anyone comes by that might
Now,
also star in Family Matters.
I was thinking about this this time when I watched it the other day, but that never really occurred to me before. I never really thought about it. So, did he have his own security uniform, or did he just steal the one from the guard that was killed?
I think he took it off the guard.
He took the coat off the guard.
So the guard and him were the same size.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when they shot the guard in the head, no blood or brain matter got on the jacket.
No.
Okay.
No.
I mean,
Okay, I'm good with that.
yeah. I mean, they've obviously staked it out, so they might have realized, okay, let's get one other hired hand here that's like this dude's size.
Yeah.
But
because I could totally see them because they're very prepared for this, so I could see them getting a hold of a uniform.
Yes.
That,
and even brought a briefcase in with their own phone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Yeah, yes. So I could totally see them, getting a uniform and just having it be that guy's uniform. But,
right, I could see that. I'm good with that.
Because we never actually see him put on the jacket, though. Do we?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
It's on there. It's in there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
there is. Yes, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do
Okay.
see it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But like you say, I was shocked that he was the same size as two people usually aren't that.
No, but I guess he doesn't really. They don't show him a whole lot in the movie, so we don't actually see him moving around a lot. So
we don't.
Could be similar enough that it fits, but maybe it's a little tight.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We see him kind of walk once with it, and then we get the other scene later at the end.
Yeah.
But most of the time, a lot of times when we do see him, he's just kind of standing still or sitting.
Yep.
So.
Huh.
Anyhow. So they're back up at the party. Now we're like in the bathroom, right? And we have John. He's making fists with his toes.
Yes, he's making fists with his toes on the carpet of Ellis's office.
And he's like, "Oh wow, he's right. This is awesome."
Now, have you ever made fists with your toes after a long trip? After flying somewhere?
I have. I don't know.
No.
That's a good point. No. You flew recently. Did you
I
make
did.
fists with your toes?
I did. Not right after I got off the plane,
Well,
but
neither did John McClane.
yeah.
I mean, he had a whole limo ride.
But it was a
through
little
LA.
while later when I was getting ready for bed. And I took my shoes off, and before I climbed into bed, I sort of made fists with my toes on the carpet, and yeah, it works.
But he then calls Argyle, right? And Argyle wants the verdict, and it's still out.
Mm-hmm.
That's at that point. Oh, well, I guess some of them are getting up in the elevator. Others are kind of staying, going to different parts of the building. Because we got Carl and his brother. They're
Yep, Carl and Tony.
working. Yeah,
Tony's down there, sort of disconnecting all the phone lines, and
he's being very meticulous about
Yes,
it.
he's
and
very
Carl's
very
like, you know
meticulous.
what? I got
because he doesn't want to set off any alarms. He's cutting the wires, but he so he's got to sort of bypass them so that they doesn't set off any alarms. And Carl doesn't want to wait, so he pulls out a chainsaw and just cuts through all the conduit.
Where did the chainsaw come from?
I don't know. Maybe it was there.
The chainsaw again later.
Nope. But luckily, Tony's able to get it all cut before Carl finishes cutting with the chainsaw.
Yes.
So no alarms go off.
I like that little bit of sibling rivalry in this, right? They're very different brothers,
Mm-hmm.
but Carl still loves his brother.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He will avenge him. He
Yes.
wants to avenge him.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know, they might not get along completely, but there's still a bond, right? Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they're working on that, and then the others go up the elevator to the 30th floor, and that's when
they all
step
get
out.
like as they're going up there, they've got a bunch of guns in a duffel bag, and so they're passing them out, everybody. And then when the elevator gets up there, they're all like super dramatic when they're coming out with the guns.
Oh yes.
You mean off the elevator?
Yes, off the elevator.
Yeah, they come off
Yep.
real slow.
They like raise them up and they like hold them, looking like they're going to be in like a catalog for the MP5 or something.
That's when the connection cuts out, right, between Argyle and
Yeah,
John, and
yeah, because
like,
he
what's
cut
going
through
on? And Argyle's like, you know the number, use it.
Meanwhile, he's just partying in the backseat with a teddy bear.
Yeah.
You guys should half this movie just partying with a teddy bear. He raised the mini bar. He's like, I'm just gonna drink all this while I wait. Meanwhile, 34 is above him. Right? So
We hear some gunshots and everybody screams. And so McClane opens up the door, the office door, and just peeks out there and sees these people walking around with guns, going and pulling people out of the offices.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They go into the one office, and there's a couple, they decide to get away, and
And get a little frisky.
It's sort of like, again, like you look at the reads, like, oh yeah, one of the things like nudity, like, oh yeah, there is nudity in this movie. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't think about it. Oh yeah. So and then the terrorists have a little bit of laugh that they caught a couple getting frisky, and then John. Actually, it works to like McClane's advantage, because like she screams.
Yeah,
right?
and it buys him the time to get out of the office.
Turns around because he's walking down towards the next office,
Uh-huh.
and then he sees it. He has a laugh about it. That allows him time to get down in the stairwell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because then when they come and open up the office that John's in, he's not there.
But it's also important that we said he was making fists with the toes, right? This is important because
this is very important.
took off his socks.
So we have his shoes and his socks, and now
fists with his toes.
he's barefoot in the stairwell.
So
So
and
he
now,
runs up. He runs up he goes up the next floor,
Mm-hmm.
he does, yeah.
opens the door, and it's the 32nd floor that is under construction. The 31st floor
Right.
Yes.
is where they have the rockets, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yes,
And the
correct.
33rd floor is where the conference room is.
Right.
Right, which
Yeah.
we'll get to soon.
Yeah. So yeah, he goes up, sees them carting some crates with rockets in it, with a rocket launcher, on the 31st floor, then goes up one more floor to the 32nd floor, which is under construction, and he sort of uses that as his base of operations
Right.
for a good
temporarily,
chunk of the
but
movie.
yes.
For a good chunk of the movie.
Mhm.
So he's up there trying to figure out what to do, because there's no terrorists on that floor yet. And meanwhile, so this is when he doesn't. This isn't when he sets off the fire alarm, is it? Isn't that after?
Yes. The fire alarm goes off pretty fast.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to
I
remember
think
if that was before or after he went up to the conference room.
It was before.
Okay. Yeah, because he looks across.
Yeah.
He looks across the street and sees in one of the buildings across there. There's a girl on the phone, so he knows that it's not. He knows that it's a local, a
Right.
building phone line that went
Mhm.
down, and not anything in the area.
Well, the thing is that when he calls the the fire alarm. But that's what they send Tony up for that, and he sees Tony's with Takagi in the conference room.
No, they don't.
So
yes, that's right. Yeah. So because he doesn't set off the fire alarm yet because he goes and sees what's going on in the conference room first.
I think he sets it off after the scene with Takagi.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, that's right.
But he first sees, like, as you were saying, like, the rocket launchers and on the 31st, because we get this
so he sees the rocket launchers on the 31st.
The stairway, sees that.
Goes up to the 32nd, then goes up to the 33rd, where the conference room is, where Hans had just brought Takagi up there.
Right.
Because he's got Theo waiting there.
They keep everyone together first down there on the 30th, right? And he's going around searching for Takagi at first, right? And he's going through Takagi's, like, bio.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, this is when you find out everything about Takagi. He's just walking through the crowd on the 30th floor.
I like how he walks by Ellis, and Ellis just kind of like sticks his nose up at him.
No.
He's like, no, I'm not Takagi.
he's like, no shit. And finally, he's like, I am Takagi. Right? And then, and so they get back on the elevator, right? And they share a conversation about men's fashion. Going up to the 33rd floor.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, because
nice suits.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, I own one myself.
Really, I own two myself.
That's right. Yeah. And they get up there. I love this space because they have the the bridge is like
the model of the bridge in Indonesia. They got a model of the Nakatomi building.
Yes.
Yes.
And then which the Nakatomi building was actually the Fox building.
Right.
Because the 20th Century Fox building. Because they could
produce the movie,
which part of it was under construction. So it was a Fox made movie, so they could use the building for like free or really cheap. So that's why they used that building.
There you go.
And they actually blew up the roof of it because it was under construction. Like they had an explosion up there.
Hey, no.
I mean, I'm sure the explosion they had wasn't to the extent of the movie explosion, but yeah.
But this time, like Takagi, most of them are kind of on the assumption that these guys are actual terrorists. So they have, like some like actual motive or grievance beyond kind of what we find out later.
Yeah, but
he's like, so he's like, oh, it's about a product in Indonesia. Like, he's trying to assuage them, like, that everything's going to be on the up and up, right?
Yeah. But no, they want his code for one of the locks in the vault. Because there are 7 locks in the vault. 6 of them are, they can do it there, but the 7th is an electromagnetic lock that cannot be cut locally, according to Theo.
Right.
And so Takagi refuses to give him his code. Hans gives him to the count of 3. And he still doesn't give it to him, so he shoots him. Now, I want to know how... So he's sitting in the chair. We see on the glass door, blood and brain matter splatter onto the door.
Yes, we see that.
If that's happening, shouldn't the bullet also go through that glass?
Yes. If there's an exit wound to the back of his head, there should be one through the glass.
That would be logical, yes. That would be logical.
And then, Hans talks to talks to Theo and asks him, he's like, you can get through the locks, right? He's like, his response is, you didn't bring me for my charming personality. But what if he did, though? What if he did bring him for his charming personality?
Like,
what if that was,
and he have a charming personality?
What if that was part of the reason why he was selected for the job instead of just some other tech guy, who wasn't a people person? Maybe he's like, okay, these guys have equal skill, but this guy has a charming personality.
Probably plenty of mercenary techs at that time in the 80s that would have, definitely applied for this job.
Yeah.
And, he knows what the interview process was like.
Yeah, I mean...
And maybe it was a charming personality at the end.
I mean, what kind of, prerequisites did he need for this job?
Hey, look at the other guys he's working with. Like, Carl does not have a charming personality.
No, he doesn't.
No.
Carl does not have a charming personality at all.
He needed someone with a charming personality.
Uli doesn't look like he has a charming personality, although he might.
He might.
He might. He's got a sweet tooth, though.
He does. He does have a sweet tooth. Tony's
not very charming either.
No.
Marco, no.
Marco. Marco just tries to imitate Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Yes.
No more table.
Where you going, pal?
Where you going, cop?
We're jumping ahead here.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Same room. It's the same room. We're jumping ahead here.
But anyway, so once Takagi gets shot, then McClane, who was in the model room,
yes,
hiding under one of the tables in there, hiding under one of the models, he sort of bumps into something as he's trying to get up, and they hear him.
Before we hit that, so the talking before this, because they're still in that conference room area. And so, okay, like we're going to do it the hard way. And they're about to leave. And they give Theo cash.
Yes.
Carl
Carl gives Theo some money because they had a bet going, apparently, on whether or not Takagi would reveal the code.
That's right.
And Carl lost.
And then, they're going to say, go upstairs. And that's when, John has to leave quickly. And, he knocks in the chairs and alerts them of his presence.
Yes. And so then they're like, find whoever made that noise. And they're looking around. They can't find anything.
And that's when, they talk about the charming personality.
So, yeah. Yeah. So they kind of they kind of let that go for a little bit, for a few minutes. And then John runs back up goes back down to the 32nd floor.
Yes, and that's when he sees.
That's when he sees the girl across the street talking on the phone. Pulls the fire alarm.
Yeah.
And then the front desk guy calls up to Hans and tells him somebody pulled the fire alarm. She's like, call the fire department, tell them it's a false alarm.
Yeah.
So he's like, wait, what floor was it on? And so he sends Tony to the 32nd floor to find whoever set off the fire alarm. And what I don't get is Tony walks in there, he's like, I'm not going to hurt you. And then he turns the corner and just starts firing.
Yeah, that's what I didn't understand that either. I'm not going to hurt you. But then he shoots a whole round of bullets at him.
Yeah, not very discreet about his intentions. No. So it's like in Three Ninjas. We're not gonna hurt you.
We're just gonna kidnap you. We've got to do that
It's gonna
movie
hurt. It's gonna
sometime.
shoot you. You won't feel a thing.
Exactly. Maybe that was his intention. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to kill you. I'll shoot you somewhere where you're not going to feel it. It'll just be an instant death.
So, yeah.
So McClane fights him, and they're McClane sneaks up behind him and
Yes.
puts a gun to his head, and Tony asks,
He's like,
"It's the
you're not
police."
gonna hurt me.
He's like, "Who are you?" It's the police. He's like, "You won't shoot me." He's like, "Yeah, why is that?" He's like, "You're a policeman, and there are rules for policemen." I love McClane's
That's
response.
my captain keeps telling me.
Yeah, that's what Captain keeps telling me. That he hits him, and they fight for a little bit. And then what does he do, Tony?
He rides him down a flight of stairs like a fucking sled.
Yes, he does. And when they hit the landing at the bottom of the stairs, Tony
Tony
gets broken.
snaps his neck.
So, one terrorist down. One terrorist down. And so McClane starts going through his stuff. Because Tony's got a bag with him, and he starts going through it. He finds some, extra magazines for the MP5, which in this movie, by the way, they weren't using MP5s because they weren't available to them for filming. So they took some HK94s, which are the civilian version with a longer barrel. They cut down the barrel and made it look just like an MP5. But that's just some gun talk for people who might not realize that. But
a lot of people might not realize that.
Just a little more nugget of knowledge there for you.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's going through his wallet, sees that he's got a fake ID, a fake California driver's license. Finds his cigarettes, tells him, "These are really bad for you."
I was like, these are very bad for you. You know what else is very bad for you? Getting ridden down a flight of stairs.
Yes. So then he tries on his shoes.
It's like he's got
because if you remember,
John McClane's sister.
If you remember, John McClane is barefoot, so he tries on his shoes, and he's like, 9 million terrorists in the world, and I had to kill the one with shoes with feet smaller than my sister. Okay, so he's getting them all set up in the elevator, and he sits him down in the chair, and before he goes to close the door, he looks over and sees a Santa hat, and he gets an idea. So he starts the elevator, so it starts going down, hits the emergency stop, climbs back out so he can get on the top of the elevator, and sends it down to he hits the 31st and 32nd floors.
Yes.
My only guess on why he did that was just in case Hans and the gang were still on 31.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good guess. Because it's possible.
Well, I mean, I guess the conference room was 33, so...
Mm-hmm.
Or was the conference room 31 and the missiles were on 33? Trying to remember.
Really good question.
Because originally he went to 32, then he went up to 33, and then back down. Yeah, I think the conference room might have been on 31. Missiles were on 33. And the construction was on 32.
Yeah, conference room was 31, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that would be, I guess, why he hit 31 and 30. Just so it would stop on both floors, just in case Hans was on 31 still.
Correct. Yes.
But Hans isn't on 31. We don't see it open on 31. But it does open on 30. Right after Hans is, Yeah, after Hans gets back down there. But we missed out when he first got off the elevator.
Oh,
when he's getting everybody's attention. We get the classic line, "Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen."
Ladies and gentlemen. How did we forget to do that?
I know.
It's like our favorite thing to quote.
I know.
Anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, that's kind of where they're kind of thinking about the greed too, like why they might be just terrorists, because he mentions like the Nakatomi's history of greed.
Mm-hmm.
He mentions it there. So,
yep. Yeah. So the elevator opens up. A woman sees what's in there and screams.
Well, I mean, Hans is talking to everybody first, right? He's like, there's, this can go one of two ways. Like you can walk out, or we can carry you out. Right.
He just asked like, Mr. Takagi, who will not be joining us for the rest of his life.
Make no mistake, we're in charge. But that quickly gets like destroyed when the elevator opens.
Yep. And see, so the lady that screams, was she even within eyeshot of the elevator? Because the elevator is up a couple stairs.
Yeah, it's up. Yeah. I mean,
everybody else was down.
Situated.
Yeah.
It's like the corporate center there. Right. So like, yeah, it's not as like you were saying, like it's not this one kind of level floor.
Yeah.
It's kind of tiered a bit, and they're off to the side.
Yeah.
From where the elevator bay is.
And Tony was in the back of the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know if that lady would have been able to actually see Tony in the elevator, but she still screamed.
I don't know.
Maybe something else happened that made her scream, and I don't know. Maybe she was practicing to be in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I don't know.
I don't know.
Though there wasn't a whole lot of screaming. I mean, yes, there was some screaming going on in the rat scene, but in Last Crusade. But the screaming would have mostly been in Temple of Doom, but that was a few years before this.
Yeah.
But
so Hans goes over and he's getting some of the guys there to keep the hostages back, and they look in. There's Tony, and obviously his neck is slouched over, and he sees the writing, and they pull it open. He's like, "Now I have a machine gun."
Ho ho ho
ho ho.
Now, funny thing here, also another mistake in the filming, because Tony, when he died, his eyes were open, and they stayed open the whole time.
Yes.
So when it shows him, because it shows him from right behind his head, and his head's kind of turned to the side and angled down a little bit, and you can see his eyes are open. But when Hans reaches over to move his head over, right before Hans puts his hand on his face, you see Tony close his eyes.
I don't think I've ever caught that.
I haven't caught that either.
Yeah, after I saw it for the first time, I can't not catch it now. It's so obvious now that I know it's there.
So Andrzej Wisniewski plays Tony, who would have been, if you were, could have seen him in The Living Daylights just before this.
Yes.
And he was eventually in Mission Impossible also. So, but yeah, I don't think I ever noticed that, he shuts his eyes like that. Huh. I'll have to look at that next time.
Because you'll probably be watching it sometime in the next week or two.
Yeah, I have to now. So. I didn't realize he was also in Ghost Protocol. They're rolling that. So.
Oh.
Really got not a lot of credits, but he's made a few of them worth it. So. And this way, so it's like Carl. But Carl's not on the floor. Where's Carl at this point? They tell them to go find Carl so he can.
Yeah, because Carl was sent up to check on. He was.
Did he send him to the roof? Check on the
sent to the roof.
Yeah, he sent him to the roof to check on Heinrich, who was dealing with the explosives.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. So it's interesting. I like how they give us little hints of their plans. Like we don't get the full scope of it. We just we gradually get it revealed through them.
Yeah.
So yeah, because tell Carl his brother is dead. So but meanwhile, we get John McClane. He's on.
Yeah, he's on top of the elevator, looking down through the little trap door up there, and he's writing their names down as Hans is mentioning them, so he knows, he can get a count of how many there might be. So yeah, he's got a Sharpie, and he's writing on his forearm. The only name we see him write down is Carl, but I think later on we see some other names on there that are then crossed out after he kills him.
Yeah.
I thought he wrote Hans on there too.
Yes, he did. He wrote. He already had Hans and
yes.
Tony written on there. Then we see him write Carl.
The hash marks. And how many there were.
Yeah. So yeah, he's throughout the movie. He's got several written on his arm. We only see him write Carl on there, though.
Right.
Yeah. But where is he? Is this when he goes back to after this? When he goes back to the 32nd floor?
Well, from here, they get in the elevator and they go up. And so he's just riding up on there, and that's when they go all the way up.
Yes.
And he has to sort of drop down onto his stomach so he doesn't get crushed.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of sneaks off of the elevator, and he's sort of in the maintenance area. And that's when he goes by
the maintenance area.
That's when he goes by the nudie mag that's put up on the wall.
Girls.
He doesn't say
that yet. He sees it, and he kind of just stops and takes a look at it before he walks up. Anyway, we'll get to that part later. But yeah, and then this is when he goes up to the roof, because one of the things he took off of Tony was his radio, his CB radio.
That's right. The radio.
So he goes up onto the roof so that he can get a clear signal.
That's right, because he realizes that they called off the fire alarm.
Yeah.
So he still has to find a way to get in contact to signal for help.
Yeah,
right. So he goes up to the roof.
And then he starts calling on the radio.
And he realizes that's the clearest place to do. Not in the building, at the very top. Yeah. And so and I love I love the dispatch. This is a private channel.
Yeah.
If this is an emergency, please hang up and dial 911. He just politely says, "No fucking shit, lady."
Does it sound like I'm ordering pizza? No, this woman, I'm sure she got fired after this night.
She had to get fired. So
I mean, even though she's the one that takes the call from Powell later, and then that's when everything gets sent there. They would have been sent a lot earlier if she had actually listened to him.
Right.
At this point. She better have gotten fired.
She's like, "Come the fuck down here and arrest me."
Just send somebody.
Everything. And the way he's talking is you can tell he's serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then because he's on an open line, obviously the terrorist.
They can all hear him. Hans hears them.
They hear it. And it's where's? I was like, oh, he must be in the roof. It's the best place to broadcast.
Yeah. So Carl goes up there, and and he
this is the kicker: is they get up there and they start shooting at him.
Yep. They start shooting at him.
She hears it.
Yeah, she hears it, and then she's like, well, let's send a black and white over there to do a drive-by. It's nothing, but let's just send somebody over there just to check it out.
We're going to send Carl Winslow.
Yes, we're going to Carl Winslow. Reginald Vell Johnson himself. He is at the gas station buying Twinkies, buying an armful of Twinkies. Like, he's buying every Twinkie they have at this place. And the clerk is like, the clerk, he's sort of making fun of him for buying all these Twinkies, and he's like, my wife's pregnant. It's like, sure.
I thought you guys just ate donuts.
So then we get, as he's walking out the door, he gets the call from dispatch, talking about the Nakatomi building. So he walks out, and here's the one shot in the entire movie that completely dates this movie to 1988.
The gas prices.
The gas prices, exactly. He walks out, looks up, and the camera pans up to show the Nakatomi building, and you see the gas prices. Regular gas, 74 cents.
4 cents.
Unleaded, 77 cents a gallon. In L.A.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Gas has not been that cheap since 1988. So so he gets in his car, he drives over to the Nakatomi building, to Nakatomi Plaza. Goes up, walks in, talks to the front desk guard, the terrorist that's impersonating the front desk guard, who is pretending to watch a game.
Yeah,
he's pretending to watch a football game on
that he has money on
little TV that he bet $50 on them assholes. He's got $50 riding on them assholes.
That's right. I think it's Notre Dame, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so.
Notre Dame is playing a bowl game on Christmas Eve. Seems a little unusual at that time.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah.
Yep. Maybe if Rudy had stuck around.
Maybe if Rudy had stuck around, but
yeah, he had graduated by then.
Listen to our episode on Rudy. Yes. Like 15 years later. Anyhow,
yeah. That was like 13 years later. Didn't he wasn't like 74, 75, somewhere in there?
Something like that, yeah. Different era of Notre Dame football.
Yeah, so he starts to walk around to, check things out. Then he's like, you know what?
The hell with this.
I'm going. It's Christmas Eve.
I'm out of here.
I'm making time and a half today because it's a holiday. Unless LAPD does double time.
And he's a desk jockey. Like,
I'm going to go back and sit at my desk.
Not into this.
And it's lucky he did, because Carl was waiting on the other side of the door. Or was it Carl, or was it one of the other terrorists that was waiting on the other side?
Look at who it actually is.
One of the terrorists was waiting around the corner with a gun.
Anyway, yeah.
Waiting to shoot him if he turned the corner. So he goes back out there. Meanwhile, McClane had gone back down to the conference room.
Mm-hmm.
And here we have Heinrich and Marco.
Mm-hmm.
They come in there and they start shooting at him, so he dives he shoots Heinrich.
Well, he shoots Heinrich first.
Yeah, he shoots Heinrich first and then dives under the table. Under the conference table. And Marco gets on top of the table. He's shooting down at him.
Well, but I guess Marco kind of like goes up to surrender, right?
No.
And he kind of, right?
Yeah, he goes up to surrender, and then he ducks, and that's when Heinrich pulls his gun on him.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he shoots Heinrich. And then
that's when he gets on the table. Then Marco jumps up on the table.
Yeah, Marco jumps up on the table while McClane's under the table, like inching his way to the other end. This is when we get Marco trying to be Arnold.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing?
Cop.
No more table. Next time you get a chance to kill somebody, don't hesitate.
Don't hesitate.
And then we get McClane right then just start shooting up through the table.
Yeah. Thanks for the advice.
Thanks for the advice. Now, interesting thing to hear about Bruce Willis in this scene. This scene of the movie caused him to have permanent hearing loss in his left ear.
Yeah.
Because of firing the gun so close to his ear.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it. Yeah.
So, yeah. Because, I mean, I don't know how many takes they did on this.
You better go get
on this thing, but
plug in.
Yeah. But he doesn't.
Yeah. So
he goes back where he's looking, and now at this point he sees that this cop is just driving back away.
Yep. This cop's driving away. And so he decides he's going to throw Marco's body out the window. So it lands right on the hood of the cop car.
Yeah, but before that, he was driving in a circle, and Bruce Willis said, "Who the hell's driving this car? Stevie Wonder?"
Stevie Wonder.
Didn't you hear the shots? Oh, yeah.
And then he sends Marco out the window.
Goes Marco out the window, lands right on the hood, like through the windshield of Al Powell's car.
Al Powell. We don't know the name of Al Powell.
Yeah, we don't know his name yet, but Carl Winslow.
So as far as you know, it's Carl Winslow.
Yep.
It might as well just be Carl Winslow.
Yeah, it will always be Carl Winslow.
Al Powell's good too.
But yeah, there's actually an interesting theory that I read about Reginald Lavelle Johnson's cop characters that I might bring up a little bit later.
Okay.
I don't know if we have time, but
sounds good.
Yeah. So as soon as Marco breaks through the windshield, then Carl Winslow starts backing up, and right then that's when the other terrorists that are on the 33rd floor
they decide to start
shooting at him.
Because at this point, it's coordinated. At some point, they realize they need to talk with the cops, and this is the way to kind of get it done by shooting up a cop car.
I mean, one of their guys just did a swan dive onto a cop car, so it's kind of obvious that there's something going on in the building.
And then I like what Bruce Willis said after that. He said, "Welcome to the party, pal."
Yeah, because they just start shooting him up. It's like, "Yeah, welcome to the party." I forgot there was a Christmas party going on, right? It's hilarious too, because he's like he had kind of put it in reverse to back out, and
and he's calling on the radio.
Falls on the car. Yep. He's getting shot at, and so the car's in reverse. His foot's just
flooring it, and so he's calling on the radio. He's like, "I need backup now! Now! They're turning my car to Swiss cheese."
Swiss cheese.
Meanwhile, our guy was still in the garage. He's on
partying.
the road, and he's partying. And then we finally get the shot though. A little bit after this is when William Atherton is.
Yes, William Atherton,
he's a media guy, and they have a CB, and they're listening. They listen to police scans, and
he's a news reporter.
He picks it up,
and he's a news reporter with Channel 4. And they pick it up on the police scanner. They pick up Carl Winslow's call, and so then they're interested. So they're going to go and check out Nakatomi Plaza.
Well, he has to convince the station first. We get into that.
Yeah.
I always liked how, like, there's he kind of drives down like an embankment that's kind of there. Like his cop car stays in the same position like the rest of the movie.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it's like sitting there like just at an angle. Stuck on this embankment.
Yeah.
He kind of,
because when he gets out, he has to kind of like fall out of the car.
Yeah,
Truly,
I love how when he gets out, he opens the door and all these Twinkie wrappers fall out.
He's got them all squashed in his hands.
So, yeah, no, that's a good part. So, so where's it cut from there then? After that,
so
right.
from here we have a bunch of cops show up.
Yeah,
A bunch of cop cars come,
that's right,
come up.
You get the whole cavalry show up, and like you get some of the terrorists like oh, the cops are showing up, right? I don't I feel like some of them are
because then
completely privy to the entire plan.
Yeah, because then it cuts to Hans and the group that's right around him. They're like, the police are showing up. He's like, yeah, we knew that was an inevitability. We knew they were going to show up.
Yeah, it was.
And it's necessary.
Yeah.
So
Inconvenient.
And that's when we finally get we introduce the rest of the cops, and one of them is Dwayne T. Robinson.
Yeah,
Deputy Chief Dwayne T. Robinson,
They picked the perfect name, Dwayne.
played by Paul Gleason.
Which, if you are a fan of other 80s movies, would definitely know from The Breakfast Club
Yep.
and Trading Places.
Yep. another actor who was perfectly cast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I love, the tension. And kind of like William Atherton, he kind of plays the same type of character in all his movies in the 80s.
Yep. Yeah, William Atherton is Arthur Thornburg, the reporter.
The reporter, yeah, we didn't even mention that. The reporter is played by William Atherton.
Now we talked about William Atherton before in the Ghostbusters episode.
Ghostbusters episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He was the pencil neck guy.
Yes.
Yep. Yes, it's true.
Like
this man has no dick.
Has no dick. Because Dickless here decided to turn off. Anyway.
Listen to her Ghostbusters episode. Which, by the way, lately the Ghostbusters episode has been really popular. I've been checking on it.
I was going to bring that up. Someone has, the last 2 days.
Yeah, someone's been listening to it a lot.
So, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Whoever you are who keeps listening to the Ghostbusters episode. Thank you.
I really hope you listen to this one and you can just play this one constantly. Thank you. I think they've done it again since we started recording this episode.
Probably.
Anyhow.
And if there are any other episodes you want to listen to on repeat, feel free.
Do them all. Have you noticed that, like, the Fifth Element, at least on YouTube, is like very popular?
Yeah, I noticed that.
Anyhow, that's Die Hard and Dwayne T. Robinson, and so there's actually, well, we can get into that. So he's finally talking to Al, and like Al's trying to give him what he knows, but he's like, he can't give him a whole lot of information, right? Because he's first he's trying to talk to McClane. He's like he's trying to get back in contact with him in terms of the person that radioed for help. And he's like it's like, maybe it's just some stockbroker decided that he's depressed and like, so, who shot at my car?
Didn't he say something about the body that fell out too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was he was probably just some stockbroker who was depressed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the cops, they're formally the plan. Obviously they want to go in guns blazing. So they get the SWAT team, and they're gonna kind of go in, and they get the big spotlights. And McClane, he's happy now. It's like the cops are there. He's thinking like, you know what? They can take care of this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna smoke my cigarette.
Yep.
You do the rest.
So then we get Carl Winslow, Reginald Vell Johnson, calling on the radio, asking if whoever made the call if they're still on this channel, please respond. And that's when we get their introduction to each other.
Right.
That's where he reveals that his name is Sergeant Al Powell. And that's sort of where their bond begins to form.
It doesn't get in form here. Well, I guess, does he talk with before he talks to Al there, does he talk to Hans first? Because he gets the radio off Marco and Heinrich. Because
well, the radio that he's using the whole time is from Tony.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he leaves Marco and Heinrich with their radios because he's got one.
Right, because he finds a C4 after
so he takes the
drops
bag off of
Marco.
Heinrich. Yeah, he takes
Right,
Marco's,
that's when he
or he
starts
takes
talking-
Heinrich's duffel bag that's full of C4 and the
Right.
detonators.
And that's when he starts talking with Hans, right?
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Because Hans is trying to talk to like Heinrich. It's like, or Marco. Yeah, Heinrich. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. Heinrich didn't get that message.
Yeah, that's right. Heinrich didn't get that message. And he's like,
And so they finally start having the conversation. He's like, "Oh, you just won, another American that saw one too many cowboy movies."
one too many, a couple of movies.
Yeah.
I think you're John Wayne or.
Yeah, because he talks with him first because he adopts the name Roy for.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, he's like,
He says,
you think
Roy
you're
for-
John Wayne
also Roy.
riding off into the sunset with Grace Kelly. And then he's like, that's Gary Cooper, asshole. And he's like,
funny.
I've actually been more. I've always been more of a fan of, more partial to Roy Rogers. I like those sequin
The
shirts.
sequin shirts.
And then that's when he's backing out of the door. Because Hans says something else there.
Yes.
And
And
that's the first yippee-ki-yay.
yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
That's when we get
exactly.
yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. As he's backing through the door.
And I love Al Erkman's face. Like, say what? What did he just say to me?
Yeah. Yes. And I love how in this movie it's just right there in the middle of the movie.
Movie.
It's just, a back and forth between him and the villain. It's not a one-liner before he kills the
It's not
final
one-liner.
villain like it is in the rest of the movies.
It's not very emphatic. It's just kind of casual.
Yeah, it's just casual. I love that about
He
it.
realizes that he's going to cut this conversation off right here. He's like, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Right? And finally, then eventually you get Al and him talking.
Mhm.
He's like, just call me Rory.
Yeah,
Right?
because at this point he went back to the 32nd floor.
Yeah.
And he's hanging out in there talking to Al.
Now he's just gonna take it easy because the cops are there, and he's not gonna give his name, obviously, because he realizes it's an open line.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Because when Al calls him, he's like, "This is a party line," and the neighbors have itchy trigger fingers.
So, yeah.
Which anybody who
So he's like, "Just
is
call me
listening
Roy."
who is under, say, 35, if you don't know what a party line is. Back in the 80s and early 90s, there was a thing that you could call. It was a party line where basically a bunch of people could call this number and they could sort of just talk to each other.
Yeah.
It was basically a conference call.
Yeah. Yeah. Good way to talk about it.
But yeah, that was called a party line. So that's what he's referring to there. For anybody who may not know that. But
so eventually the cops decide, they're gonna charge in on this, right? And McClane has finally talked with Al, but at this point he's just calling himself Roy to them, as we were saying. And he's happy to let go, and then he realizes, all of a sudden he sees, the big spotlights shining through, and he realizes, like, oh, they're gonna try to storm the building.
Yep. And then gunfire breaks out from the terrorists in the building, and Dwayne T. Robinson thinks that they're trying to shoot them, but Powell
They're just trying to shoot
picks up right away that they're trying to shoot out the lights.
Yeah, they're shooting at the lights. it's like they're shooting at the lights.
Yeah, because Robinson doesn't believe him at first. He's like, they're trying to hit us, and then they shoot one of the lights. He's like, I think they're shooting at the lights.
I love Al's face. He's like,
I just told you that.
I just told you this. Well, he's already told. Before this, he told Rob. This is when Robinson talks about. It's like, oh yeah, about the stockbrokers. Like, I think he might be a cop, right? It's because
what makes you think that? It's like, well, just things that he said, like how to spot a phony ID.
Yep.
Maybe he's a
bartender.
He could be a bartender for all we know.
Al has, he's got a good cop sense.
Yes, Al is a smart guy.
He's a very smart guy.
Al Powell is a very smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
He might work a desk, but he's a very smart guy. So they're just sending in the as Theo says, "Oh, look at the police had themselves an RV."
Yes.
Yeah.
Police have themselves an RV. Wait, that's a little bit later though, isn't it?
It's all within this.
Is it all within the sequence?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Okay.
they try to use a blowtorch to get the lock and that.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Because first they're sending them in standard 2x2 cover formation
Yes.
to get up, and this is where we get the cop that they're going through the bushes, and one of them hits a thorn with his hand.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's like, "Ow."
And for the longest time, I was wondering if that was intentional or if it was just accidental and they kept it in. It turns out, as is revealed in that the movies that made us show on Netflix. Again, Netflix is not paying us for talking about their shows, but this show is great. If you like movies, you want to watch it.
Anyone on Netflix, if you end up listening, you could pay us.
Yeah, we are not opposed to making a deal with you. But no, in the Die Hard episode of that, John McTiernan is talking about this scene in particular, and how, and this guy who hits the thorn, it was 100% intentional. He put that in there because he wanted some realism in the story. He thought that if they're going through the thorns, one of them has got to, hit something, make it realistic.
Yeah. Okay. Hey.
So. Yeah, so they go up there, they try to open the door, they try to use a blowtorch, but it's not going as fast as they would like. So yeah, they send in the car.
Yeah.
Send in the car. And Theo calls it their RV. The police have themselves an RV. And this is where
having so much fun here.
Yes, he
Theo
is.
does have a charming personality.
Yes, he does.
He obviously got hired through his charming personality.
He did. Yes, he
Can
did.
you imagine the non-charming tech guy be like, "The police have an RV."
No.
No.
No. The non-charming tech guy wouldn't call it an RV. He'd say it's something like they got a tank.
They also want to be like, "Oh my God, that quarterback is toast."
Yeah.
Yes, after the guys with the rocket launcher fire a rocket at it. He's like, "Oh, the quarterback is toast."
Oh,
Obviously, he's a fan of defense.
Yes.
yes.
Then Hans tells him to hit it again, and McClane chimes in. He's like, "Let him get out of there. You already hit it once. You don't."
It's like I'll take that under advisement.
And
Hit it
they
again.
hit it again. So in response to that, McClane decides he's got this
Takes
duffel
the
bag
C4.
full of C4.
Mm-hmm.
He just jams a bunch of detonators into this one block of C4.
Finds a chair and a monitor.
Monitor.
Yep.
Straps it
Wraps
to the
it
Puts
chair.
it on a chair, puts the monitor on top of
like,
it, wraps the cord
Take
around
this
it,
under advisement, asshole.
Yeah.
and he drops it down the elevator shaft.
I love how he drops. He's looking at it. He's like, "What is?" I love how he's
Yeah,
like
he's
shoving his,
watching it.
"Fuck
He's
it."
watching it. Yeah, he's like, "Fuck it." He just like jams all these detonators into it because one's not enough.
Right.
So, and I love he's just watching it fall down the elevator shaft, not realizing what's going to happen once it
should
explodes.
Yeah.
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 We should mention that we forgot there's a whole scuffle at the news station about
Yes.
getting a van,
Yes, there is.
and the news now the news they're there at the scene
Yes.
because it is important with what happens here.
Yeah. Yes, it is important. So yeah, there was a scuffle, but because Thornburg definitely he seems to not get along very well with the main anchor at the news
No.
station, and so they have an interesting little start to their broadcast.
By the way, the producer, there his name is Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Another Johnson, huh? We'll
Yeah.
get a
There's
couple.
another Johnson.
We'll get a couple more
Yeah,
Johnsons
there's
later.
three Johnsons, yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's 3 Johnsons.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, they've already arrived as this is all happening, right? So he drops the C4 down the elevator shaft.
And as he drops it, he's like, "Geronimo, motherfucker!" And I love,
hey, we got cowboys. Now we have Indians.
yes. So he just watches it fall down the elevator shaft, not thinking about what's going to happen when it explodes. I mean, a block.
Well,
So
meanwhile,
C4 itself is a very powerful explosive, and a block that size, like this is a brick of C4.
And you got to remember, elevator shafts they're contained.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one of the other terrorists there, like he's grabbing another rocket. The bringing the guy it's fallen down the elevator shaft.
Yeah. So it goes down. It blows out the first floor of the building,
Yeah.
and then the explosion comes back up the shaft.
Well, even if we were to get at we see like the people on the 30th floor, like they feel it.
Yeah, they feel it. The whole
Everything
building
shakes.
shakes.
Yeah.
And then you go to the elevator shaft, the fire rises.
And McClane's still got his head in the shaft watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it starts getting a little too close for comfort. And that's when he gets the sudden realization. He's like, "Oh shit!" Dives out of the way.
And then you get the cops everyone's like, "Oh my goodness!" Because like you see, the smoke clear out from the building, and they get there on board. He's like, "Tell me you got that on camera."
Yeah, he's like, "Tell me you got that." He's like, "I got it." Then Powell's talking to McClane on the radio. He's like, "Our spotters say you got 2 with that blast."
Mm-hmm.
And then Dwayne T. Robinson, he's like, "Are you talking to him?" He's like, "I don't know what you're doing, man, but you just blew up a building."
He's like, "There's people down here covered in glass.
There's people down here covered in
Who
glass.
gives a fuck about glass?"
Who cares
Put the other guy on.
It's like,
You're part of the
like,
problem. Stop being part of the problem. Put the other guy on.
listen to me, asshole. I'm not the one who's got butt fucked on national TV, Dwayne.
Meanwhile, we get
Argyle.
Argyle. We get Argyle in the limo. And he heard that because as soon as like the radio, the news broadcast came on, he heard it on the radio, and they're saying that they're using CB communication. So he switches because he mentioned earlier that the limo is equipped with CB.
Yeah.
So he goes to the party
CB and
live.
VHS. So he goes and switches it to the channel that they're on. And so he hears that whole exchange.
What's interesting about this?
And then
is
does
that-
Argyle try to get out, but there's
Yeah, Argyle
Yes, he
tries to
does
drive
try to
out,
do
but
that.
the gate's
But
closed.
It's completely locked off.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
good. Yes, that's right. Because when he first hears about it, he does try to get out.
Yep, but the
Forgot
gate's
about
closed, so he sort of just backs into a spot again and waits.
And he looks at the mirror. He's like, "What?" It was interesting. Like, so when McClane talks about like, about national TV, like he actually probably doesn't know that the TV's there yet, does he?
No, I don't. I mean, I think he figured it. I think
probably
he figured that
it,
they
yeah.
were there by then.
yeah.
Because, I mean, the police are involved, so it wouldn't be long
Yeah.
before the news gets involved,
that
too.
kind of naturally makes sense.
I mean,
so.
he's a cop. He knows how it works.
Mm-hmm.
And so Dwayne gets disgusted and just he gives the radio back to Al.
So
and he
then,
says, "How you feeling, Roy?" And he said, "Pretty well unappreciated, Al."
and I was like, "Well, hang in there. I love you, and
We
a bunch
love
of the
ya."
guys down here love you."
So this is when it's that point when Ellis, he's got enough of this, right?
So he walks up to one of the terrorists, like, "Hey, sprechen Sie talk?" Because the majority of them are German. I don't think we mentioned that before, but yeah, it's a bunch of German terrorists.
Except for Theo.
Yes, except Theo
And Uli.
and Uli and the guy at the front desk.
Yeah. Eddie.
Eddie. Yeah, Eddie.
Where did they get Uli? I always wonder, like, okay,
No,
I get, like,
Louis.
like
It's Eddie.
someone knew Uli. Yeah.
Yuli.
Anyhow,
Yeah, so
so
he walks up and he's like, "Sprechen Sie talk?" He's trying to put all his salesman charm in here.
he obviously overestimates his ability. Like,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, majorly.
Does he say, "I do deals all day. I can surely do something with this Euro trash"?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I negotiate.
Before breakfast?
Yeah. I negotiate high-end deals before breakfast. I can deal with this Euro trash.
He's always like, you use a gun, I use a pen.
I use a pen.
Yeah. You use a gun, I use a fountain pen. The way I see it, you're in a hostile takeover. The only difference is you use a gun, I use a fountain pen.
Yeah.
He's an account.
He's like, Hans, Booby.
Yeah. I can give them to you.
He's like,
Like, I watched 60 Minutes.
You're here, you're happening.
you got a rat messing up the works? I can give them to you.
Do you? Yeah. I can give them to you.
I think we've talked about this in other episodes. Like 60 Minutes, okay, it's not now. It's not like a big thing. Like
Yeah.
in the 1980s,
In the 80s and early 90s, 60 Minutes
90s,
was
60
huge.
Minutes was-
Yeah.
yes.
It was huge.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, I can give him to you.
And I love Hans's response. He's like, I must have missed that episode of 60 Minutes.
Alan Rickman, he just
Oh, Alan Rickman is amazing in this movie.
Yeah.
we could like you could tell like yeah like he like oh right yeah he's disgusted with him. He's he's ready to like he kind of wants to kill him. Like you realize you can't do it yet because like Carl's like looks at him like should I just kill him now?
Yeah, he's like Carl. Yeah, Carl gives him that look.
No,
He's like,
not
can I
yet."
can I just shoot him?
Yeah.
I love this that Alan Rickman. This was his first feature film.
Right. Yeah.
And he turned it into one of the most iconic villains of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's
fantastic in this movie.
Yeah, he is.
you don't want him to win at all, but like you just at the same
kinda
point
root
like, you
for
just
him.
love the character. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
you don't want him to win,
die,
but you love
and
him.
At the same time, like you know what? And what happens next? Like okay,
He's such a
I'm
likable
okay
villain.
with that.
Yeah, he's such a likable villain.
He's
Yeah.
more likable than Ellis.
Yes. Yes, much more likable than Ellis. Which, I mean, Ellis could be, viewed as a villain in this movie.
I mean, he's trying to kind of sell out, McClane.
Yeah, he's trying to sell
Yeah.
out McClane, and he's trying to take his wife. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so yeah.
So that they call he finally reveals John McClane's name.
Yep.
Hey, not cool, Ellis.
Not cool,
Yeah.
Ellis.
Mm-hmm.
Not cool. But one thing, in Ellis's defense, he does not reveal that he's Holly's husband.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
Hey, no. Well, okay. He still thinks he's going to live and Holly's going to live and he's going to get Holly out of this.
Yes.
So if Holly dies because of it,
Yeah. So yeah, he doesn't want to put her in a position where she's in danger.
Right.
he is still trying to, hook up with her.
Right.
Because, I mean, she's Bonnie Bedelia.
Yeah. Oh man.
It's like, it's
Hey,
like,
pantsuits were big in
or
the
should I
80s.
say, or should I say, Officer John McClane? Right?
Great.
Of the New York
it's
Police
like-
Department.
What was the nun's name that he used? Sister,
Oh, yeah. Sister.
Yeah.
I can't think because
Yeah. Whatever her name was, the nun at his
Yeah.
school used to call me Mr. McClane. My friends call me
McClane.
John. You're neither.
Neither. Yeah.
you're neither asshole.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, then as soon as Han said his name on there, and then we get cut. It cuts to Thornburg.
Hey, find that name.
Yeah, he's like, find out everything you can on him.
It's like get in contact with our person in New York, right? Because it's a news station; they got affiliates. So.
Oh, and we missed. Yeah, so we forgot when the explosion happened after the C4. After he's like, "You get that?" He's like, I got it. He's like, Thornburg's like, "Eat your heart out, Channel 5."
Yeah.
But yeah, then it also at some point it cuts back to the news station where they're interviewing an author.
That's right. So
Terrorist, hostage terrorist.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're experiencing Helsinki syndrome.
Yeah,
Helsinki syndrome. Where then the anchor, he's like, as in Helsinki, Sweden. And then he corrects me, he's like, Finland. Which, funny thing here is that syndrome is actually called Stockholm syndrome, which Stockholm, Sweden. So they put that in there as just a little joke because I guess they didn't want to use the real life syndrome for it. So they named it after another European city, another Scandinavian city.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that was, the whole Sweden thing was in reference to Stockholm, Sweden.
Okay.
But yeah.
I realized that was intentional.
Yep, it was intentional.
Interesting. That's good to know. I thought that was just a mistake.
Nope.
So yeah, he's like, So McClane's like, I know. Yeah, sister so and so calling us to McClane. My friends call me John, but you're neither, asshole. He's like, I got someone here that wants to meet you, right? And it's like, hey, John boy.
Hey, John boy.
Where's he going, John boy?
Because then he's like, Alice, what did you tell them? And he's like, I just told them that we're old friends and you're my guest here at the party.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense. I was just like, did he tell her about Holly?
Yeah.
And so at least Ellis is aware of that situation.
At least Ellis is like, I shouldn't reveal that his wife is also in the room, or at least in the area, in the room outside, on the floor. But yeah, so listen, John's like trying to tell him tell them the truth, tell them that you don't know me, they're gonna kill you.
They realize people are listening.
Yeah.
And that unless you give them the detonators, they're going to kill me. Meanwhile, they bring him a Coke.
Yes, they bring him a Coke. Carl brings him a Coke. Pours it into a glass. Just barely pours any of it into a glass.
Yeah.
It's like, you only get about 2 ounces for your last meal.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Meanwhile, Hans pulls out his gun. And
it's like, what am I, a method actor, Han?
Yeah. It's radio, not TV.
Gives him the thumbs up, like, you know what, we got this. He gives him the thumbs up. And meanwhile, because tell them they do not know me. They're gonna kill you.
It's like, John, how can you say that after all these years?
After all these years.
Meanwhile, he's taking a sip of the Coke, and Hans raises the gun, and then it cuts to outside the office with the rest of the employees there, and you hear a gunshot,
and then everyone screams.
Everybody screams, and then they carry off Ellis's dead body.
Yeah. Well, and then I like how Hans actually he goes out to there and holds up the radio so he can hear everybody screaming.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, you gonna give me the detonators or shall I kill another one?
Maybe I'll finally get to someone you do care about.
Yeah, and then Deputy Chief Dwayne T. Robinson heard all this too.
That's like pulling the trigger.
He's like, you hear that? He just let him kill him. He just let him die. It's like pulling the trigger yourself. Meanwhile, Al is defending McClane.
It's like if he gave himself up, they'd both be dead. It's like, no, they'd be talking to us. He's like, why don't you wake up and smell what you've been shoveling? It's like,
I love this too, because then Dwayne's like, Sergeant, anytime you want to leave, you can go. And then I love Al's response to that. He's like, sir, you couldn't drag me away.
No, I love it too. It's like an awesome character moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great line, and it's so well delivered.
Yeah, because like at the beginning, when Powell first showed up, he's walking through the building. He doesn't even go and do his whole check. He's ready to go home.
I should do all that.
It's Christmas Eve. He's ready to go home. Now he's invested in it.
Stevie Wonder.
Yeah. Now he's invested in it. He's made a connection with McClane. He wants to make sure that McClane makes it out of there alive.
That's right. You couldn't drag me away.
He will not go home until this is settled and McClane gets out alive.
Mm-hmm. So, now, they take away Ellis's body. I like how he's kind of sitting there at first before they take him away, and like you can kind of see through his head.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
kind of like in the first Deadpool when he gets shot in the arm and you can see through the bullet hole for for a couple seconds there.
And so he realized, but at this point Hans realized right, so okay, he's got the detonators, okay, so maybe we should actually check up on the roof and see what's going on here. He realizes he's got to do a little bit of the dirty work himself and see what's happening.
Yeah. So he goes up to the roof, or to, just below the roof, where the C4 is. Yeah. So he could check on the C4. And so while he's up there, McClane is scouting, and he sees him.
Well, and it's important, at first, Hans takes his gun out.
Yeah.
He puts it, to the side.
Yeah, he sort of rests it on the wall.
Yeah.
Or not on the wall, but there's some big electrical cabinets.
There's a lot of electrical stuff up there. That sticks it there where,
some electrical cabinets that the C4, we find out shortly after this that the C4 is on top of. But yeah, he sort of places it there on the side of that. And that's when McClane sees him. And
it's like, oh God, don't kill me.
You're one of them, aren't you? You're one of them.
He does really well in this scene.
He does. And actually, this whole thing, so he's pretending to be an employee of the building that just escaped the party, escaped the group in the party.
I'd go up on the roof and signal for help,
Yeah. So he's pretending to be Bill Clay.
Yeah.
And he's using an American accent. And this scene came in, it was pretty late in the filming that this scene came in, because they were trying to figure out the best way to introduce John McClane to Hans Gruber.
You know what?
And one day during filming, when they weren't actually filming, when they weren't shooting, just in their off time, Alan Rickman was just playing around with an American accent. And John McTiernan thought, hey, you do that pretty well. That is the perfect way to introduce the characters. So he wrote that scene, they wrote that scene right then and put it in there. So it was pretty late in the production of the movie that was created. And it turned out it was a brilliant way for them to meet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad you bring this up, right? So, our last episode was The Fifth Element with Bruce Willis, where he never interacts with the villain.
Yes. He never interacts with Gary Oldman.
He talks with them a few times, but they really only have two scenes together. 2
scenes. Now, in The Fifth Element, they almost share the screen.
Yeah, they just miss each other.
They just briefly miss each other. Just barely miss each other. But yeah, in this one, they only have 2 actual on-screen scenes together. Other than that, they're just talking on the radio. But they have plenty of interaction throughout the movie. They just only see each other a couple times.
Right.
But
so and Hans or Bill Clay, right? He's like, yeah. It's like I thought I'd go on the roof and try to sing for help, right? It's like it's just this way, right? Because he wants to go back and get the gun.
He wants to go back and get the gun.
Now,
and McClane stops him. He's like, no, wait. You want to stay alive? You stay with me.
Yep.
And brings him back, and then they're talking, and this is when he reveals that his name is Bill Clay, or his fake name is Bill Clay, and McClane, like there's a directory on the wall of employees, and William Clay is one of the names.
It says WM.
Yeah.
William
Clay.
Bill.
He's like, okay. So then he's like, you ever shot a gun, Bill? And he's like, well, I was once on a company retreat at a combat ranch, the game where you shoot red paint.
But it seems silly to you. But it's good thinking by Hans. Like Hans is a smart guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So, and Hans looks at his feet, at McClane's feet, and sees that he's barefoot. And McClane just looks at him and is like, it's better than getting caught with your pants down. He's like, yeah, I was invited to the Christmas party by mistake. But yeah, so he
says like, I'm a cop from New York. He's like,
it's like, New York, what are you doing here? He's like, I was invited to the Christmas party by mistake. But yeah, then he's like, have you ever shot a gun, Bill? And that's the combat ranch with the paintball. Right. And so he, pulls out his Beretta, takes out the magazine, puts in, if you notice when he's putting in the new magazine, and he, if you pay attention to his fingers, if you know anything about guns, there's a release switch for the slide, because if it's an empty magazine, it'll lock the slide back. If you look at his finger, it's on that release. So when he puts the mag in there and he cocks it, then it goes forward like there's a round in the chamber. Because you can kind of tell from just the way he's talking to Bill Clay that he doesn't quite believe him.
He's been around the building.
Yeah. And this is the scene earlier, like that we were mentioned earlier, where, if they had gone with the original plan of all of the terrorists having the same watch, then this is where he would have seen that watch.
Yes.
And so he gives him the gun. And as soon as he gives it to him, he starts walking away, and Hans pulls out his radio and starts speaking German. Points it at McClane, and
McClane's smoking a cigarette at this point, by the way.
Yeah, yes, he is, because he gave one to Bill Clay also.
That's right.
The last two cigarettes he had in the pack that he took from Tony.
And Hans drops his, and he puts it out with his his shoe.
Yep. Right before he starts talking on the radio, points the gun at McClane. And then McClane acts surprised.
Acts surprised.
He acts surprised. He's like, "Wow, that's a great accent. You could be on TV with that accent."
Mm-hmm.
But then Hans tells him that he's going to count to 3. He's like, "The same 3 that you gave to Takagi."
He tries to shoot. He pulls the trigger. He's like, "No bullets."
Yeah,
He's like,
no
it just
bullets.
clicks. It's like, "Oh, Hans, no bullets." You think I'm an idiot?
And then the elevator dings. He's like, "You were saying?"
Yeah, he takes the gun away from him, and then the elevator dings.
Mm-hmm.
And then Carl comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, McClane's firing at Carl while he's running away. And they ended up in the server room, it looks like.
Yes.
Yes.
Where there's glass walls. And we have a little shootout in there.
There was a firefight.
There was a firefight. We need to do Boondock Saints one of these days. Willem Dafoe is fantastic in that movie.
Yes, he is. Love Willem Dafoe.
But anyway, so this is when we get the Sheets Vincer.
Yeah.
Shoot the glass.
Has he not? What is he like back?
I know. He
about?
speaks German to his German comrade, his German partner there, and he looks at him like he doesn't understand what he's saying. So he repeats it in English. Shoot the glass. Because he remembers McClane is barefoot.
He's barefoot.
Right.
So they shoot the glass, so the floor is covered in glass and broken glass. And Carl slides another one of those hockey puck flashbangs over there.
Yes.
But by this time, McClane had escaped because he saw the floor full of glass and looked down at his feet, and he's barefoot, and he's like, okay, I got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So he runs across the glass barefoot. You know, the flashbang goes off. They don't find McClane in the room. And then we see McClane go into the bathroom, just smearing blood on the floor from his feet.
Yep. And he hangs out here for a while now.
Mm-hmm. Because I mean, he's got to pull the glass out of his feet.
He's got to pull glass out of his feet. Yes.
Yeah. And also,
which can't be
just
comfortable.
in case anybody's wondering, so he had taken off his shirt before all this happened. So he's just wearing his undershirt, his white undershirt, and
yes,
we forgot actually earlier. We missed the whole vent scene.
Oh man!
After escaping the
scenes ever.
After escaping the roof, he goes and he gets into the vents, and he's like crawling through there. He's like, "Come out of the coast, we'll have a few." Yeah. Like. He's like, "Come out of the coast, we'll have a few laughs." It's like, now I know what a TV dinner feels like. But
he should have been more aware though, like lighting a lighter.
Yeah,
in an enclosed space.
In an enclosed space. And that's how Carl knew that he was in the vents. So then when they went to the room where he had gone through in the vents, you know, Carl's coming up, poking up with his gun. You know, he shoots up into the vents, like we mentioned in the Fifth Element episode, that Lilu had to have seen Die Hard.
Yes.
Or that Zorg had to have seen Die Hard.
Oh, he's Zorg.
Yeah, because Lilu was in the vent, so Zorg had to have seen Die Hard, so that's why he shot into the vent.
Into the vent.
But
yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, when he enters the vent, his shirt is still white. Mm-hmm. The rest of the time that he's wearing that shirt, it's brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been a point of contention for a lot of viewers of this movie. Like, why does his shirt change color?
Because he crawled through a fucking vent.
Yes. Yes, because he crawled through a dirty vent, and his shirt is dirty. This has actually been, like, I think McTiernan is the one that actually brought this out because there were so many questions about it. He's like, it's because the vent is dirty.
Do these people not use filters in their HVAC? Yeah, so
anyway, so he's talking, he calls Al on the radio, and he's talking to him, and he's starting to get to the point where he doesn't think he's going to make it out of here.
Yeah.
So he calls Al, tells him to give a message to his wife. You know, he knows that Al will be able to find out who she is eventually, you know, and when he does, let her know, you know, that he has.
Well, at this point, the FBI has already come.
Yes, we have,
and we've cut the power.
Oh yeah, that's right, because that's going on during this whole time too. Yeah, because
he's in the,
the FBI gets there.
The
yes, Agent Johnson and Special Agent Johnson, no relation, a black guy and a white guy.
But when they came up and Robinson was talking to him, and Pal says, "You want a breath mint?"
Yes, that's right. That's right.
That's right. That's right. That's a good point. It's a great line.
So
you need a breath mint.
So Special Agent Johnson is played by Robert Davi, who, if you've seen the Goonies,
yeah,
he's from there. He's also from License to Kill. He was the villain in License to Kill.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a great actor. I love Robert Davi.
Yeah.
He's, from what I understand, like he always plays like villainous characters, but he did a great job in Stargate Atlantis also. He was Kolya.
He did.
He was Kolya in that show. But anyway, so love Robert Davi. He typically plays a bad guy, but from what I understand, from what I've heard, he is a sweetheart in real life.
That's what I've heard too.
Like I've heard he's just a really cool guy. But then Grand L. Bush plays
the other Bush
Agent
is
Johnson.
Grand L. Bush.
So,
by the way, Grand L. Bush was born on Christmas Eve.
Oh, really? Interesting. But I love how they're credited as Big Johnson and Little Johnson.
Little Johnson.
Robert Davi is Big Johnson. Grand L. Bush is Little Johnson.
Little Johnson was also in the Bond movie. By the way.
Which there's got to be like another joke there, because Little Johnson is played by a black guy.
Yeah.
You think? They had. They already met. You know, Ellis was measuring earlier. I mean. By the way, Grand L. Bush was in the first two Lethal Weapon movies, playing different characters.
Yes. Yes, he was. And then the whole Johnson thing becomes a running joke in the Die Hard movies from here on out.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, then they go to Art from the Burbs.
Yeah.
Walt in this movie.
And his supervisor's like, you can't just cut the power.
Yeah, because they need to cut the power.
Yeah, we can.
Because in order to cut the power to that building, they had to cut out a whole city block. And it's Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And so
he realizes like the ramifications of that. So he's saying it's not possible. And he's just kind of saying, it kind of is possible.
Yep. He's like, I need authorization. He's like, how about the United States fucking government?
He's gonna say, like, how about the United States fucking government?
So he pulls out his little phone and he calls the main office and he's like, hey, I need you to shut down grid 212.
Shut it down now.
He's like, actually, no, he asked first. He's like, could you shut down grid 212?
That's right. He's being polite about it.
Yeah. He's like, no, shut it down. Shut it down now.
Shut it down now.
And I always love it. Dwayne's like, yeah, maybe I should talk to the mayor.
And it's funny because this, like, the whole way that the FBI is acting in this scene. So back in college, I had majored in criminal justice in college, and I had a I took like one of the law enforcement classes that I took. We had an FBI agent come in and speak to our class one day.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, well, first off, let me tell you what the FBI is not like. And then he stops for a second and he's like, no, you guys are all too young to remember Die Hard. I took that as a personal attack. Because, I mean, granted, I was almost 30 years old at the time. You know, so I was much older than everybody else in my class.
Still,
But
you were 30.
But still, I'm like, he had the audacity to say that none of you remember Die Hard. You're all too young to remember Die Hard. So, and he just left it at that. He's like, well, in Die Hard, the FBI agent's going to take over, and that's not what we do.
Hey, you know, Big Johnson just needed to show his Big Johnson.
Yeah. So they cut the power right as McClane is pulling the glass out of his feet.
Some glass has, but while he's doing that, they're also back down in the vault. And
yeah, because Theo had gotten through all 6 of the locks, and so once they cut the power, that electromagnetic, the 7th lock, unlocked, and so the vault opens up, and you get Ode to Joy playing.
And Joy plays
Again.
Mm-hmm. And everybody's going in there, and yeah, for like the 15th time.
So, because we have 4 guys in this scene. We got Theo, we got Hans, we got the other guy that's been like down at the desk. Who is the other terrorist that's in this scene? What is his name? I'm not aware of his name.
Is it Eddie from the?
No, Eddie's at the desk. Let's see. We got Theo. We got
isn't he
Hans
up there then?
Yeah. At this point, when the cops showed up, Eddie went up and joined Hans and them.
Yeah.
So Eddie's there.
He's
Christoph?
the guy that kind of
Was it Christoph?
let's see, Christoph.
Christoph and
Or
was
Fritz?
Uli up there?
Uli?
Fritz.
No, because at this point, Uli had gone to the newsstand,
That's right.
and this is when he stole the Crunch Bar.
Candy.
Yeah,
Let me
no,
find-
he's hypoglycemic.
Yes,
because he is a
yeah,
Mongol.
exactly. So Pam and Lonnie, so I don't think I ever mentioned this to you. So one of the times in the past when Tony and I were watching this movie together.
Well, you mentioned he has a sweet tooth.
Yes, you mentioned he had a sweet tooth.
And we noticed this too.
We noticed this
because
too because he steals a Crunch Bar.
When the cops come in with the RV, he's there at the snack bar at the bottom,
Right.
there, and
He steals.
he eats a candy bar.
Yeah, and so
Right.
I made, because we had that same question, like, why does he steal a candy bar? And I made the joke that, maybe he's hypoglycemic, and so he needs the sugar to be able to, keep going. And then I did a Google search because Uli is so Uli's played by Al Leong, who also played Genghis Khan in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Mongolian.
Oh.
So he played a Mongolian in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. So I did a Google search for hypoglycemia and Mongolians, and apparently hypoglycemia is, Mongolians are basically predisposed to hypoglycemia.
So we just call him the hypoglycemic Mongol.
Yes.
It may not be politically correct, but that's what we say.
So that is our reasoning for why he steals the Crunch Bar.
Okay.
Because he's hypoglycemic and therefore needs the sugar to keep going.
By the way, the fourth person here is Christoph.
It's tough.
Okay. It is Christoph.
Yes. So
yeah, they get into the they get into the vault
where Kristoff actually is killed. But
yeah, there's statues in there, and there's the $600 million in negotiable bearer bonds that we didn't mention earlier, but Hans did mention when he was talking to Takagi.
What kind of terrorist are you?
Who said we were terrorists?
Money? Of course I want money. What are you talking about?
There's like some samurai armor in there, and there's a lot of cool stuff in this vault.
There's like artwork. There's like some cool stuff beyond the bear. Like, that's the stuff I would want.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, sure, the bearer bonds would be great, but this other stuff is awesome too.
Anyway, so the power shut down. They got kind of what they've come for, or they're starting to collect it.
Yeah, McClane tells Powell to find his wife and tell her that John said he's sorry. Yeah, he goes through this whole speech, this whole thing about
she's heard
me say I love you a million times, but she's never heard me say I'm sorry. So tell her that. Tell her John says I'm sorry. And Al's like, you can tell her yourself because you're gonna get out of there.
And then he starts thinking, like McClane, the cop wheels start turning, right? He's like, why was he on the roof?
Yeah, because he's like, I guess that's up to the man upstairs. And he's like, what were you doing upstairs, Hans?
Yeah.
And so he goes up to the roof to check it out, and he looks up to where on top of those electrical cabinets, and there's a bunch of C4 up there. And when he drops down there, he calls Al on the radio again and tells him it's a double cross. But before he can tell him that the whole roof is wired to explode, he gets a gun in his cheek because Carl is there waiting.
And it's Carl.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't catch that. He's talking to another cop that's there. It's like, oh, I think he heard something about a double cross.
Yeah, because the FBI had talked to Hans, and Hans gave a list of demands for just random terrorist groups.
Well, he gave a list of demands to Dwayne, actually.
Yeah, that's right. He gave the list of demands to Dwayne.
And I love how,
and when he says Asian Dawn, then Carl's like, he mounts Asian Dawn. He's like, I read about them in Time Magazine.
Time Magazine. And Carl's like, do you think they really do it? And Han's like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, he's like, who cares? I'm just waiting for the FBI to show up.
But the FBI finally is like, okay, we've list demands, and okay, we'll have choppers on the roof.
Yeah, so send all the hostages up to the roof. We'll get them out on choppers. So they're sending all the hostages up to the roof. McClane sees that there's explosives, and so he calls in there, tries to tell him it's double cross. The whole roof's wired to explode, but before he can get all that out, Carl shows up. And the FBI are going to double cross the terrorists because they're expecting personnel carriers. They're not expecting gunships. So they've got some combat helicopters that they're taking in there. A couple of Blackhawks that have like rockets and guns and stuff on them.
Yes.
And they're going to go up there and take out 20 maybe
30% of the hostages.
Yeah, 25, maybe 30% of the hostages tops.
Yeah. Yeah. They can live with that.
I can live with that.
Just like fucking Saigon.
It's like I was a junior high, dickhead.
But then while that's going on, Hans is explaining to Holly that since he stole 600,000 in bearer bonds, he'd have to blow the roof.
Yes,
I think
that's right.
They were.
Yes, because she's like, why do you have to blow the roof? He's like, because when you steal $600, you can just walk away. But if you steal 600 million, they'll come looking for you.
Right.
Yeah. Because remember, they eventually
Yeah, because Holly was called in to sort of be their contact with the rest of the
she
employees.
already we missed this earlier. Earlier she says she's a far better negotiator than Ellis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because she goes in, she's like, you know what? Like, there's a bunch of people out there that probably have to go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you start sending
Otherwise, you're going to have some messes. And there's a woman that's pregnant out there. Can we get a couch? Can we take her into one of the offices where there's a couch? And Hans is like, well, no, we can have a couch brought out to her. Does that work?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, I love how he's like, who put you in charge? Like, what idiot? Put you in charge?
What idiot put you in charge?
You did.
You did when you
killed
killed my boss.
My boss.
And he just takes it. He just accepts it.
He does take it. It's like, okay.
He's like, wow.
It's like, Mr. Takagi chose his people well.
Yeah, just people well.
He says
Mrs. And then she's like, Gennaro.
It's like,
Ms. Gennaro.
Miss Gennaro.
But at some point he realizes that there's a photo that's been put down on the windowsill because he basically takes her office as kind of his base, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's we get the scene where because you have Thornburg, he really, they find out that his home that McClane's home address has a home address in California.
Yeah.
Right. And
but that's still not for a little bit though.
Yeah.
Because he notices that there's a picture down, but he doesn't pick it up yet.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's right.
So McClane, he's fighting with Carl. I love this while they're fighting.
That's right. Yeah.
While they're fighting, he's like punching Carl. He's like, I'm going to kill you. Then I'm going to cook you. Then I'm going to eat you. Carl is driving John McClane to cannibalism.
I kind of like how Carl is like, this is just personal. Like, he kind of has respect for McClane.
Tony was Carl's brother, and he's trying to avenge his brother's death.
But he kind of respects McClane.
Yeah.
But he's still going to kill him because he killed his brother. No, McClane's like, no, you're just a fucking loser asshole.
Yeah. And what we also forgot, what we also missed was after the whole shoot the glass scene, we had when
that's right.
Hans and Carl went back down to the 30th floor. Then Hans is fine. Yeah, because he has the detonators back. So he goes into the office, and Carl gets mad, and there's like a cart with some plates and stuff on it, plates and glasses and stuff, and he just goes and hits it. And Holly is talking to her. She's with the pregnant lady with her assistant.
She's got the couch that's out there at this point,
and she just starts smiling. And she's like, "He's still alive."
Well, the pregnant lady's like, that guy looks really pissed.
Yeah. And Holly's like, he's still alive. And she's like, what? What do you mean? He's like, only John can drive somebody that crazy. But yeah, so they're fighting, and eventually McClane, wraps a chain that's hanging down around Carl's neck, and then sort of throws him away. So like he basically gets hung, and he moves on to the roof. So he goes up to the roof to try to get all of the employees off the roof because he knows it's going to blow. Just as the gunships are coming up.
Yep.
Just as the helicopters are coming up, and so in order to get their attention, he starts shooting his gun up in the air.
No, he opens the door first, and Uli's there.
Oh, yes, that's right. Uli's there.
Yes. He blows
kills
him away.
Uli. He shoots Uli. Poor
Several
Uli.
times.
Yes.
Poor Uli. I guess it wouldn't have mattered if he ate that candy bar or not.
hey, if that was his last meal, it was a good last meal.
I mean, Crunch bars are tasty. So, Yeah, so he gets on the roof. He starts shooting his gun in the air to get everybody's attention, to get him to go back downstairs. And the FBI agents, Big Johnson thinks that he's a terrorist.
Right.
And so he thinks that he's shooting at the hostages.
That's a reasonable.
Yeah. It's a reasonable assessment. Yeah.
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 Even though if he had looked at it a little bit closer, he'd see that he was shooting in the air and not at the hostages.
Right.
But, so he pulls out his sniper rifle and he tries to shoot him.
I'm on your side, asshole.
Sending McClane running. And all the employees end up getting off the roof.
I love how they run down out the roof. Like, Carl's just hanging up.
Yeah, Carl's just hanging. They just run past him. They just run past Carl just hanging there. So then McClane decides he knows that the roof's about to blow, so he finds a fire hose, ties it around himself, and this is the scene that I mentioned earlier that I had heard that this is the first one they filmed, because if something happened to Bruce Willis, they could have time to cast a new John McClane. So he ties the fire hose around his waist, jumps off the side of the building as the roof explodes, taking the helicopter down with it.
Well, like Eddie's out there, right? He sees him kind of coming back down, and he's kind of telling Hans that they're coming back.
Yeah. He said they're coming back down.
And that's where we actually get one of the other little errors
that's right.
within this movie.
That's right, because he's like, they're coming back, and Hans is like, blow the roof. Mm-hmm. And then we get someone who sounds very similar to Marco.
But Carl's up there.
But Carl's up there.
While Bruce Willis is putting the hose on him, he said, "John,
yeah, he's tying the fire hose around him, right?
Like, John, what are you
Never
doing?
going to get back up in a tall building again."
Yeah.
Hey, airplanes, tall buildings.
Yeah, he's really going to have to make some fists with his toes after this.
So all he makes after this.
So he jumps off the side of the building with nothing but a fire hose tied around his waist to use as a rope, and luckily, the reel for the fire hose, the explosion knocks it off of its mount, but it gets stuck.
It gets stuck
at the edge of the building. So just long enough for him to be able to shoot through the window to get inside. Then it falls and starts pulling him out. And this is a scene where every time I see it, every time I see this, Bruce Willis does such a great job acting here.
Yes.
Because he's getting slowly pulled to the broken window to fall out of the side of the building.
Right.
While he's struggling to get this hose untied. And just like after he gets the hose off and it goes falling out, just the look of terror in his eyes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the realization that he almost fell to his death.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even after he gets it off.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's secure.
He just starts breathing heavy, and just like the look in his eyes is just brilliant acting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, like, given all that's happening, like, he's thinking about his wife and all the other like hostages and everything that's been going on, but that moment, like, that's the thing that's been in his mind. Like,
that's the only time. All the times up to this point where he almost died, nothing. Here, he's like, after all this, I'm gonna fall out of a building.
That's a great point. So He gets up. He realizes he's got to go up to the vault. That's where they are, and he's got 2 bullets.
Yep.
That's all he has left at this point.
Because he checks his MP5 and there's nothing in that mag, but so he checks his Beretta and there's 2 bullets left in it. And at this point, Hans has taken Holly hostage because here after the news broadcast, because Thornburg went to Holly's house and threatened to call the INS unless the maid let him in to talk to their kids.
Right.
It's like, this is the last time they're going to talk to their parents.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So then we have...
Son of a bitch.
Then we have on the news, we have their kids, and Lucy McClane is saying, come home. And once Hans hears the name McClane, then he looks over and picks up the picture and sees John McClane, the guy that he met upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
This kid's had to be asleep too. That's it.
Yeah. So he goes out and he takes Holly and holds her hostage. And then she finds out that they're just trying to steal the money. He's like, you're nothing but a common thief. He's like,
I happen to be an exceptional thief.
He's not an exceptional thief. And since I'm upgrading to kidnapping, you might want to be a little more respectful.
Nice.
I love how I like the scene though where like he's trying to collect all the bonds. He's like on all fours. It's very animalistic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's been very sophisticated this entire movie.
Yeah.
And here, like he's on all fours.
Yeah. He's crawling around trying to pick up the bonds.
Untucked. His ties.
Getting desperate.
Loose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually like it's the how he says it, the phrasing of it just everything matches really well.
Yeah. His desperation is showing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So now we kind of say like, he gets up there, and
so yeah, he sees the 2 bullets in his gun, and then he looks over and sees the season's greeting tape. We don't know what he's using it for yet, because he walks into the room where Hans, because he had
this Christmas tape that plays a vital role in this movie.
Yes.
Come on.
So a couple of these terrorists don't necessarily die, because one of the guy that's holding the bearer bonds, he punches him,
right,
and he drops the bearer bonds and knocks him out, unless he punched him hard enough to kill him. And then Theo,
which we don't, he's gone down the basement,
to
the parking garage. Well, this is happening also.
Apparently they also, in addition to all of the terrorists being in the back of the box truck, they also had an ambulance in there?
No, I don't think so, because it was not, you would have seen it when they came out.
Yeah, you would have.
Yes.
Yeah, unless they had a second truck. Did they? And I mean, there was also a different kind of ramp on there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So unless they had a second truck...
With the same name.
Pacific Courier, the same name, same courier company as what's on the Plane and Speed that we'll get to. That we will get to when we do the Speed episode.
We'll do Speed. I think we'll do Speed when we do this. When we do the summer blockbusters, this summer.
Yeah. So, unless we do it before that.
Maybe before then.
Unless we do it before that, but yeah, it'll probably be summer blockbusters the latest. But yeah,
that was a good one.
Yeah, Pacific Courier, the fake courier company for movies, or at least for this one in Speed.
Well, Jan de Bont was associated with both movies.
Was he? Was he associated with Die Hard?
Yes. I believe he was. Or maybe it was Die Hard 2 that he was associated with.
Yep. Cinematography. He was a cinematographer of this movie.
That's what I thought. I thought he was a cinematographer on this one.
Jan de Bont was the cinematographer for Die Hard.
There we go.
Makes perfect sense. That explains it.
Anyway, so yeah, Theo, he went down to the garage level, and does he get punched out?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess he gets punched out.
Yeah, because he drives.
The climax.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Argyle sees him pull the ambulance out of the back of the truck.
He sees an ambulance come out of the back of the truck. He's like, "This isn't right."
Yeah, so he rams his limo into the side of the ambulance, gets out, and punches out Theo.
Hey, there's black on black violence.
Yes, there's black on black violence, and this was L.A. Although it was before the whole Rodney King thing, so.
Yeah.
But even though the Rodney King thing was not black on black violence,
no, it wasn't.
But yeah,
that was police brutality.
Yes,
very
that was
different.
police brutality. Very, very different. But
anyhow,
yeah.
So Theo gets punched out by Argyle, and Argyle's pleased with himself, obviously. So
yeah, I mean he hurt his hand, but it's okay because he.
Again, there's a small reason like, yeah, you know what? You're gonna punch a guy out like.
I mean, Argyle doesn't seem like the kind of guy that punches many people. So
no,
no, he doesn't.
So yeah, he knocks him out. So yeah, at least two of the terrorists don't necessarily die in this movie.
right?
No, right. I agree with this. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so then we got McClane comes into the room.
It's like, Holly!
And he's like in there, like acting all tired and everything. He's got his gun. He's got the MP5 from the terrorists in there. And he's like,
I love how he's like, he looks at it. She's like, oh my God.
like he's all bloody. He's all sweaty, bloody, dirty. He's got his shirt. He had taken off his undershirt and used it as a bandage for his foot.
Yeah.
So he goes in there, and
I do love this part of it though, because I think this definitely underscores like the very human aspect of like him.
Yes.
Right. Like especially look at the fourth and fifth movie, he almost becomes like almost superhero like in some ways. Like he bleeds, he struggles, and here he is, and he's barefoot. He's got his shirt off now, and he's
bloody, sweaty, dirty. He's had it.
He's walked across broken glass. He's jumped off a building, crashed through a window. He's stumbled downstairs, right?
He dove out of the way of one of 12 explosions.
Yeah. Got beat up by Carl.
Right.
Got shot by Carl with his own gun.
That's right. Yeah, he gets shot through the shoulder.
Yeah.
Gets shot through his right shoulder with his own gun.
Right.
He's had a night.
Yeah. So he stumbles in there, and Hans grabs Holly and puts his gun to her head and tells him to drop the gun. So he drops the gun.
And the look on Holly's face when he does, like she's like, oh.
Yeah.
Yep. So he drops the gun. And Eddie had a gun stashed away, and he pulls it up, and he's pointing it at him. And so...
and Hans like, mine. Like, this one was mine.
Yeah, he's like, Hans like, no, this was mine. So he's like, yeah, what was it that you said before? Yippee-ki-yay.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Motherfucker.
Motherfucker.
And points the gun, just slowly points the gun at McClane. And then we see McClane starts laughing. And then Hans starts laughing. Then Eddie starts laughing. And they're all just laughing together, having a great time. Like they're old buddies.
Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
What are these dudes doing?
And then the camera pans around and shows McClane's back. And he's got his Beretta taped to his back with the Season's Greetings tape.
And how did he get it back there? How did he get it back there, Rob?
That's what I've always wondered.
That's a great point.
Because it's an angle where he can't reach with both hands.
I know.
It's that spot on your back. Okay, it's that spot that always itches that you cannot scratch.
Like you get the back scratcher, you get the nice brush in the shower that just scrubs that part of your back,
It's that part of your back, right between the shoulder blades, that you cannot reach, no matter how hard you try. So how did he tape the gun onto his back?
I don't know.
And how does he then actually pull off
Well,
I don't-
I mean, the gun, if you look at it, it is angled in a way where, he should be able to reach back there because he's
Yeah,
he's a
but if
lefty.
you put that
grant that.
tape
He's a lefty,
across
so
Okay,
he should
yeah.
be able to
He
he
is a
should be able to
lefty.
at least reach the grip of the gun. But
Yeah.
how did he tape it to his back?
and he's all sweaty. How's his face?
Exactly, that too.
Yes,
That too.
Very good point. He's gone through fire. Like, he's
Yeah.
hot. It's sweaty. Yes.
That must be some like duct tape or something. It didn't look like it. It looked like just regular like present wrapping tape.
Regular
Yeah.
packing tape. No.
But
no.
yeah.
Unless he put it on the gun and then spread the tape out and then laid on it. or
But even then, like because I've thought about that too. Maybe he put it on the gun first and then just like reached back there and stuck it to it. But
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
way he could get his hands to the point where he could actually stick the tape to his back.
Right. Yeah.
Right, yes.
No, it's mind-boggling.
But they're all laughing. And then he reaches back, grabs the gun.
Not all laughing. Holly's not laughing.
Yeah, Holly's not laughing.
No.
All the guys are
Lost
laughing.
their mind.
All the guys are laughing like they're old poker buddies or something. Holly's just confused. Just trying to figure out what's going on. So McClane reaches back, pulls the gun off his back, shoots Hans in the chest, and then turns and shoots Eddie right between the eyes.
Eyes.
Yeah, he's
Right between the
there.
eyes. And then, he does the classic, blowing on the muzzle of the gun.
Happy trails, Hans.
Happy trails.
He's like, happy trails, Hans. As Hans falls back and breaks through the window, falls out the window. But here's where that Rolex comes into play.
Mhm.
Like, he was holding
He's
Holly,
holding
one
on to
arm.
Holly's wrist.
and the
Mhm.
other arm had the gun that he was going
Mhm.
to shoot.
Yeah, so he's holding on to Holly with his left hand onto her wrist, the wrist that's wearing the Rolex.
Mhm.
And John comes over and grabs Holly to make sure she doesn't fall out. And while he's trying to get Hans off of her, Hans starts to raise his gun up.
Mhm.
And then
Well,
McClane realizes
they
that she's
fall.
wearing the Rolex, so he undoes the
She's-
clasp on the Rolex.
Well, before
Mhm.
that, like, she screams, right? That gets the attention of everyone down on the ground
Yeah.
level.
Yeah, they're
So everybody's up there
And
looking.
They're all looking up.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of forgot the point where when they blow the roof and the FBI people blow up.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
always love when we're gonna need more FBI guys, aren't we?
Robinson, Dwayne T. Robinson's like, well, I guess we're going to need some more FBI guys.
Well, FBI guys.
Yeah, so,
So-
Hans is raising the gun
so,
up to McClane. McClane reaches down and he undoes the clasp on the Rolex. And as like the whole symbolism thing with, this is her reward for doing so well in the corporate world. And then he's, the whole job versus family thing.
Yeah. Mhm.
So the watch comes off her wrist and Hans plummets to his death.
And it-
again, you got
And Robinson says, "I hope that wasn't a hostage."
Yeah. Yeah.
then
And
he
funny thing about
slams
this,
on the ground.
funny thing about this part. So when they were, because that was actually Alan Rickman that they dropped for that scene. I mean,
They dropped,
it
yes.
wasn't 30 stories. They dropped him onto an airbag from a little bit of a height just to make it.
obviously not 30
Yeah,
stories.
no, obviously not 30 stories. From a safe height onto an airbag. But they wanted to get a real reaction from him. So they told him that they were going to count to 3 and drop him on 3. They dropped him on
The
1.
same 3 he did for Takagi.
Yeah. The same 3 he did for Takagi. So yeah, they were gonna count down 3, 2, 1, drop. They dropped him when they said 3. So on the first count, they dropped him so that they could get a genuine expression on his face.
Right.
And that's what we have.
And that's what
Right.
they put in the final film.
Uh-huh.
And it's perfect.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So at this
And
point,
I love the music as he's just dropping down.
yep.
And then
Yeah.
just- You'd have thought.
Silence.
Just imagine him
Boom.
exploding.
Yep. Just
He hits the ground.
popping like a zit on the floor or on the ground. You know,
He was in a hospital.
like Bluto in Animal House.
Yeah.
When he's got a mouthful of whipped cream and hits his cheeks.
That was it. We might do Animal House one day.
We
So,
might.
Stay tuned. We should do Animal House one
We
day.
should do it. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. Anyway, so then we have, the parking lot where all the cops are, and McClane and Holly are being escorted out. One of the firefighters has given John his coat, so he's wearing it, so he's not like half naked. And they go out there and they see Al Powell.
Mm-hmm.
And like McClane and Al's eyes meet.
They lock eyes.
They lock
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah.
And
they
they know each. I mean, Al obviously knew that was John McClane, but John knows
because he looks like shit.
he knows that that's Al, that's Al Powell, and like they see each other like two soulmates seeing each other from across the bar, from across the room.
Wait. I don't know about this.
Like they lock eyes and like, it's you. You're the one.
It's like where a Randy Newman song starts to swell.
Yep. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got troubles. I got them too. Is anything I wouldn't do for you. We stick together and see it through, 'cause you've got a friend in me.
Oh, man.
There we go.
So
Did not expect that tonight.
because earlier they had talked about, John was saying that he hopes that one day they can have their kids at a park swinging with Al Jr. someday. And
Right.
we got to mention that Al,
his wife is
working
pregnant.
on the first.
Yes, his wife's pregnant. They're working on their first kid.
Yeah. They're talking about their kids playing together.
So they meet up, they hug,
They laugh.
they
They
and
kind of
then,
cry. And then Dwayne Robinson's like, you got a lot of answer for here.
Yeah, mister.
I have a lot to answer for.
He's like, you have a lot of answer for here. Hell, this is murder, for Christ's sake.
He's like, what are you talking about, dude?
And then everybody's all surprised, and we don't know why. But then it's revealed that
Carl's not dead.
somehow, somebody had gotten in there quick enough to get him off the chain that he was hanging on, and he pops
He
up.
picked up a machine gun.
Yeah.
He had a machine gun.
Yeah.
He got out from under the tarp.
Yeah, he pops up out from under a tarp with his machine gun.
This has never made sense.
No.
We're gonna take him down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a terrorist. He can probably hang there a little bit longer.
Yeah. And at some point, like either somebody brought him his gun, or maybe he got himself off the chain and picked it up and walked out there and just hid under a tarp. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't need it.
But he pops up, points his gun at McClane, and what we also missed earlier when they were talking, when McClane was pulling the glass out of his feet,
The reason,
because he's like,
Carl.
he's like, hey, so Al, you got flat feet? And Al's like, what do you mean? He's like, no, just the way you drove back there. I would have pegged you for the street. It's like,
Right.
no, in my youth, I'm a desk jockey now. It's like, what happened? You hit your captain with the car? And Al's like, no, I shot a kid. It was dark. He had a ray gun. It looked real enough.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, and ever since then, I just couldn't bring myself to draw my gun on anybody.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So after Carl pops up, Then we hear a couple shots ring out, and Carl's getting shot. He gets shot like 5 times before he drops, and then it's revealed that Al Powell, dramatic music, and we see the gun, and then everything behind that is all blurry, and then it clears up, and it's Al Powell holding the gun.
Yep.
He has regained his backbone.
Yep.
Yes.
He has regained his ability to draw his gun on a perpetrator, and so,
then we hear a car break through a gate,
and
it's the limo.
Yep.
Argyle.
And then Al turns like he's ready. He is ready. He's got one bullet left in the chamber. He is ready.
I'm ready to cap more motherfuckers.
He's like, I got a taste for blood.
He's now a shark. It's like, yes. like John's like, no, this one's with me.
So he stops him from shooting Argyle. And then, Argyle gets out of the car and he's like, if this is their idea of Christmas, I gotta be here for New Year's.
Hey, Argyle has had a lot of fun this Christmas Eve.
Yep. And then after that, as Argyle is helping John and Holly into the back of the limo, then
Thornburg wants an interview.
Yeah, that's right. Thornburg wants an interview, and Holly punches him. Because
and they get in the limo.
They get in the limo, and then as the camera's panning out in this crane shot or helicopter shot, whichever it was, probably a crane shot because it was in the middle of a city.
Yes.
Then you get Let It Snow playing. The weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. Since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
I love how they end this one with Let It Snow. It's LA.
Yeah. Meanwhile, it is kind of snowing. There's a bunch of papers falling down from the building. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like snow.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the next movie, which takes place, outside Washington, D.C., okay. I remember one Christmas Eve where, it snowed outside Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
But, it's reasonable enough. But, L.A., no.
Yeah.
So, but let's know. Again, it's perfect because,
it's
they want to be together.
Yeah.
Yes,
they want to be together. It's a Christmas movie. So, of course, Christmas music is going to be playing during the credits. So, then the credits roll, and that's Die Hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Die Hard.
That is Die Hard, not only the greatest Christmas movie ever made, but the greatest action movie ever made.
Yes.
Greatest action movie ever made.
Yep. It's good.
One of the greatest movies ever made.
One of the greatest movies ever made. 80s ever, wherever you want to put it.
We mentioned earlier that this movie redefined the action genre.
Mm-hmm.
For decades after this.
Oh,
just about every action movie was Die Hard on a train, Die Hard on a plane, Die Hard in a whatever.
Die Hard on a boat. I love how, put Die Hard on a bus.
Yeah, it wasn't.
They can't go below 50. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
How about we take that Die Hard on a bus that can't go below 50 and put it on a cruise ship?
Yes. Yeah.
Die on a plane, but with snakes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Die Hard on a boat, but with Steven Seagal.
Yes.
And Die Hard on a train, but with Steven Seagal. It wasn't really until Taken came out that the format changed. So now it's Taken on whatever.
I was about to say Die Hard in Europe with an angry revenge father named Liam Neeson. Which completely changes it because it becomes Taken. And strange enough, most of the Taken clones starred Liam Neeson.
Yes, they did. But anyway, so that's Die Hard, and
love the movie.
Love it. Love this movie. Always have since the first time I saw it. This is one of those ones that every time a new format of physical media comes out for it, I have to buy it.
Yeah. I hear it.
Like I own, I don't know how many copies of this movie and the sequels.
It's not even a format. It's like like different packaging.
If there's new packaging. It's the exact same special features, same everything as all the previous releases. But it's a new box set. I gotta buy it.
This was Argyle's limo. I gotta have it. But yeah, we love this movie.
Yeah, we've been waiting since we first started this podcast to do Die Hard, but we knew we wanted it to be, because this episode is released on Christmas.
Yep.
We have to do Die Hard for this one. So we've been waiting. We've been sitting on this movie for a long time.
Yes. I guess we can't quite time it to be released when Hans Gruber falls.
Yeah.
In Nakatomi Plaza.
True.
But, it's not a movie that's in real time, unfortunately.
Yeah. But we are glad that you guys could join us for it. When we first discussed Die Hard, there's no way I was going to do it without having you guys on. Because the two of you are, besides Tony and me, probably the biggest Die Hard fans I've ever met. And
I
love Die Hard.
I can't claim to name all 13 terrorists, so.
So, thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
So that's Pam and Lonnie York, people. Great couple. They're some of my dearest friends, and you guys are amazing people. You really are.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We love you too.
It's been excellent.
Love you both. And
love you.
Well, does anybody have any parting words for Die Hard? Anything else that we missed, or?
Well, it's not Christmas till Hans Gruber falls off the Nagatomi building. So.
That's correct.
It doesn't. It's not.
That is correct. It is not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls off the Nakatomi building.
Absolutely.
Well, all right. Well, if you want to follow us on social media, then check out our Facebook and Instagram and Threads pages. That is Rob and Tony's Cinematic Adventure. The and is spelled out A-N-D. It's not an ampersand like it is in the name of the podcast. Then we are also on X or Twitter. That is R&T Cinematic. And then if you want to find out some of our movie reviews on various movies that we've done, that we've talked about on the podcast, some that we haven't talked about, some that we won't talk about, some that we will talk about. Just if you want to see just our random reviews on different movies, check out our Letterboxd account. That is Cine Adventure or Cine Adventure, CINE Adventure. And yeah, if you enjoy this podcast, if you like what you're hearing, then go to our social media, give us a like and a follow. Go to your favorite podcast app. Subscribe, give us a good review, a good rating. That's how we move up in the standings and the ratings and the reviews and the recommendations, all that stuff. We can't do this without you guys listening. So we want to give you some content that you enjoy. So if there is anything else that you want to talk about, if you want to talk to us about Die Hard, you can email us at robandtonycinematicadventure@gmail.com. Once again, the and is spelled out A-N-D. It's not an ampersand like it is in the name of the podcast. But yeah, let us know what you think of Die Hard. Is it your favorite Christmas movie? Is it your favorite action movie? Do you hate it? Do you adamantly deny that it's a Christmas movie, even though you're wrong?
Please tell us.
Let us know what you think of Die Hard. Let us know what you think of other movies. Is there another movie that you think we should cover on the podcast we haven't covered yet? Let us know.
What is there an unconventional Christmas movie?
Yes, is there an unconventional Christmas movie? Do you want to let us know that
Lethal Weapon?
Yeah, I was going to say, do you want to let us know that Lethal Weapon also is a Christmas movie, and Die Hard 2 is also a Christmas movie? Yes, we know that, and those are both accurate. But I could see an argument that Lethal Weapon isn't necessarily a Christmas movie; it's just a movie that takes place at Christmas. I could see that argument, but because it doesn't really revolve around Christmas like Die Hard does.
No,
but yeah, so yeah, let us know. And if there's anybody out there that wants to help us out with a theme song, if you're musically inclined. I know I did a little bit of singing in this episode, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm good at writing theme songs for podcasts.
You just borrowed from Randy Newman.
Exactly. So if you would like to help us out with a theme song for the podcast, then put something together, send it to us. We'll listen to it. If we like it, then we will possibly make it the new theme song, and then you can be immortalized forever on the internet with Rob and Tony's cinematic adventure.
The internet.
So we're looking for something just like maybe 30 seconds to a minute long. Doesn't need to be any longer than that. But yeah, if you are so inclined, then please put something together. We want to hear from you. We want to get you involved so that we can continue to bring conversations that are pleasing to your ears. So anyway, we got a fun movie lined up next time.
I'm excited.
Me too. This is a great one. The one that I enjoyed a lot. So we are going to be switching gears a little bit. Since it is a new year, next episode comes out on January 1st. So it's a new year. So we're kind of going back to our roots.
I think this is appropriate because we're going back to our roots. A little over a year ago, we started this. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we went with one of our favorite series, Star Wars.
Yes. We originally did the original Star Wars trilogy were the first three
Star
episodes.
Wars trilogy. And I think it's appropriate that we did that. We're doing this because George Lucas finally decided to cede over Lucasfilm.
Mm-hmm. Sold it
and they started up
to Disney.
And they started a new anthology of movies.
Yeah.
And we're not going with the trilogy, the sequel trilogy.
We're doing Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Within timeline within the Star Wars universe.
Yes, which is fitting with it going along with going back to our roots because it is the side movie that is an introduction into episode 4, A New Hope.
Into episode 4.
So we are going to be doing Rogue One, a Star Wars story next. And so join us for that. It's going to be a great discussion.
Yes.
I love this movie.
It's actually been a couple of years since I've watched it, so I'm very excited about watching it again.
Yes, it is. It is one of the arguably one of the best movies. You ask anybody, is one of the best Star Wars movies to come out in the Disney era.
It is the best. No,
it might.
Spoiler alert! It's my favorite.
It might be the best to come out in the Disney era. Yeah. I mean, I enjoy all the movies that have come out in the Disney era, but I'm also a Star Wars fanatic. But yes, this is a great movie. And it put the war in Star Wars.
So
once again, thank you, Pam and Lonnie, for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much.
On this episode of Die Hard. And join us next time for Rogue One, a Star Wars story.